By the time it was my turn to awaken, no one in my class had manifested so much as a B-rank talent. Most people only awakened D or E-rank talents, and anyone saddled with a lifestyle talent could see exactly how limited their future would be. This world was overrun with vicious beasts. High-tier vicious beasts could destroy entire cities. Only a powerful combat talent and true martial strength could earn someone resources and the right to survive. My aunt, Han Shui, had raised me since I was little. She possessed nothing more than an E-rank kitchen hand talent and had paid for my schooling with the income from her tiny restaurant. I had only one goal today: awaken a combat talent, hunt vicious beasts, and make sure she never had to worry about making ends meet again. Next, Chu Feng. I slowly rose, drew a deep breath, and walked toward the front of the classroom. The kind of life I would lead from now on all depended on the talent I awakened here. Reaching the lectern, I placed my hand on the purple stone. Ms. Yang operated the instrument beside it and began the talent awakening ritual. A faint current of energy flowed into my body. The next instant, the purple stone erupted with blinding golden light. It washed over the entire school, drawing astonished cries from everyone around me. Oh my God, that's the golden legend. It has to be an S-rank talent, and an extremely rare hidden S-rank talent at that. An ordinary S-rank talent wouldn't produce golden light this intense. According to the statistics, only one person in tens of millions ever awakens an S-rank talent. That kid Chu Feng is unbelievably lucky. As long as it's S-rank, even a lifestyle talent will put him among the elite. Exactly. Every major corporation fights over high-rank lifestyle talents. I'm so jealous. The golden light slowly faded. At the same time, information flooded my mind. S-rank hidden talent, talent maximization. Talent maximization increases the effects of all your other talents by 100%. Active ability increases the effects of those talents by another 100% on top of the existing enhancement. Put simply, it doubled the talent's effects outright. Activating it increased those effects to 4 times their original strength. One talent in my hands could produce the same results as 4 talents in someone else's, raising its upper limit enormously. If paired with an offensive combat talent, it could amplify that talent's attack power to a terrifying degree. If paired with a restorative combat talent, talent maximization could accelerate the recovery of life force to an equally absurd level. Its amplification was undeniably powerful. And yet, although talent maximization could strengthen other talents, and by a huge margin, no less, doubling them at minimum and potentially quadrupling them, effectively turning one S-rank talent into 4, it had one fatal flaw. Talents could also be upgraded. After several future upgrades, an S-rank talent maximization might enhance the effects of other talents tenfold, perhaps even 20-fold in one shot. The problem was that I did not have another talent. A martial artist could awaken a second talent, but only after reaching the 7th tier and awakening soul power. Before that point, every martial artist possessed just one. My S-rank talent maximization could only strengthen other talents, which meant it currently strengthened absolutely nothing. Forget 20 times. Even a 10,000-fold multiplier still equaled 0 without another talent to multiply. Unless I cultivated all the way to the 7th tier, this talent was effectively useless. Reaching the 7th tier was extraordinarily difficult and required vast amounts of resources. Without any additional combat power, hunting enough vicious beasts to obtain those resources would be nearly impossible. More importantly, even if I did become a 7th tier martial artist, there was no guarantee what my second talent would be. If I awakened a lifestyle talent at the 7th tier, this S-rank talent would still go to waste. Taken as a whole, my talent might be S-rank, but at my current level it was almost useless. Ms. Yang frowned, clearly thinking it was a shame as well. She cleared her throat, then announced, S-rank talent, talent maximization. Higher rank talents cultivate faster. Keep working hard. You may still have a chance to become a 7th tier powerhouse. The higher a talent's rank, the faster its owner cultivated. Mine had no combat power and was currently less useful than some F-rank talents, but it was still S-rank. I would progress extremely quickly when practicing body tempering arts, and given enough resources, I could leave everyone else in the dust as I broke through each cultivation level. With a powerful body tempering art paired with martial techniques, becoming a grandmaster in my own right was not entirely impossible. Of course, I had no chance of becoming the strongest martial artist. In fact, I would most likely become the sort of person others defeated despite fighting above their own level. Next, her voice carried across the classroom. Everyone fell silent for a moment, then burst into heated discussion. Isn't that the most useless hidden talent there is? Such a shame. He awakened it, but he can't even use it. Do you know how hard it is to reach the 7th tier? Vicious beasts are born with terrifying strength. Humans need powerful talents to stand against them. Chu Feng's talent is just. Standing at the front of the room, I remained perfectly calm beneath the weight of their comments. A pale blue screen had appeared before me, one no one else could see. Ding! Myriad Worlds Marketplace activated successfully. Talent section, Cultivation Arts section, Weapons section, Pills section, Daily Deals, Random S-Rank Talent Pack, contains 1 S-Rank talent. Buy 1 get 1 free. Receive an additional S-Rank talent as a bonus. Stunning price, 9.9 Dragon Coins. Free delivery to your home. Supplies are limited. Only 1 pack remains. Special Events section. I stared at the panel in front of me, unable to keep my excitement from surging. Had it finally arrived? The special advantage every transmigrator dreamed of, my golden finger. A quick glance was all it took for me to spot the 9.9 Dragon Coin deal. Buy 1 S-Rank talent, get 1 free. An ordinary person in the Dragon Nation could casually earn 2 or 3,000 Dragon Coins a month, and anyone willing to work a little harder could make 4 or 5,000 without much trouble. My aunt, for example, averaged 6,000 Dragon Coins a month. Yet the 2 S-Rank talents on my panel cost only 9.9 Dragon Coins. I rummaged through my pocket and found a 20 Dragon Coin bill, then immediately bought the random S-Rank talent pack through the panel. It might be random, but these were S-Rank talents. Purchase successful. The Dragon Coins in my pocket vanished into thin air, replaced by a 10-coin bill and a 10-cent coin. At the same time, a parcel resembling a delivery package appeared inside my enormous system space. I opened it without hesitation. Opened successfully. Congratulations. You have obtained the S-Rank Talent 9 Heavens Divine Thunder and the S-Rank Talent Tide of Life. As the delivery box opened, tremendous power poured into my body together with the system notification. Both violent and soothing energies forcibly enhanced my physique. The strange sensation made my body go limp, and I toppled helplessly to one side. It's all right. If your talent isn't suitable, you can focus on academics. In the Dragon Nation, you'll still be able to put food on the table. Yang Xiaolei had been handing me a copy of the basic body tempering art, but after hearing about my situation, she tried to take it back. This was the most fundamental cultivation art for martial artists. Only after awakening could someone practice it, strengthen their physique, and begin the path toward becoming a true powerhouse. Upon breaking through to the 7th tier, they could awaken a second talent. With my talent, I could certainly cultivate quickly, but I still faced a serious problem. My talent provided no combat power, so at higher levels, I would naturally be weaker than other martial artists of the same tier. If I could not fight well, hunting vicious beasts would become far more difficult. Without vicious beasts, there would be no resources. Without resources for cultivation, even the greatest talent was like trying to walk on one leg. You should probably skip tomorrow's placement exam. Even if you enter the martial arts track, it will be hard for you to get into a good university. High school was divided into academic and martial arts tracks. Students in the martial arts track truly had to go to the front lines and fight vicious beasts with real weapons. The returns from killing them were high, but without a good enough talent, it was all too easy to lose your life. I still want to try. I carefully felt the immense power surging through my body, then reached out and took the basic body tempering art from Yang Xiaolei. I had just awakened 2 additional S-Rank talents. Together with my existing S-Rank talent maximization, they had multiplied my combat strength several times over. There was no reason for me to join the academic track now. I needed to slaughter vicious beasts, raise my strength as quickly as possible, and give my aunt a better life. I was going to pass tomorrow's placement exam and become a real martial artist. Yang Xiaolei sighed when she saw me take the manual from her hand. She understood my unwillingness to give up and my desire to at least try. If I truly managed to reach the 7th tier and awaken another combat talent, it would transform everything. Even a D-rank combat talent awakened at the 7th tier would be enough to make me comparable to an ordinary person with an S-rank combat talent. For tomorrow's placement exam, you only need to kill 1 first-tier, first-level vicious beast to enter the martial arts track. If you can use this body tempering art to cross the threshold today and break through to the first tier, first level, you'll have a chance. If you can't break through and you have no combat talent, there's no way you can defeat a vicious beast. You'll have no choice but to join the academic track. Yang Xiaolei did not try to stop me. Instead, she carefully explained the rules of tomorrow's exam. Reaching the 7th tier without support from a talent was difficult, but quite a few martial artists had still managed it. Even the fastest person to break through to the first tier, first level, without damaging their foundation had taken 7 days. Unless someone relied on a good serum or a powerful pill, a body-tempering pill, for example, to receive help from an external source, breaking through in a short period was impossible. Of course, forcing a breakthrough within a single day would most likely leave after effects. Pills and similar resources were also expensive. Given my family's limited means, the resources needed to reach the 7th tier would be an astronomical expense. I would have to earn all of them myself. Holding the basic body tempering art, I thanked Ms. Yang and left the front of the classroom. There were many kinds of cultivation arts. The most basic body tempering art could only help me train my physique. Its cultivation speed was unimpressive, and it offered no special effects. If I wanted a powerful cultivation art, I needed to enter the martial arts track and obtain better training resources. The track had dedicated martial artist instructors who taught cultivation arts, and students could select powerful manuals suited to them from the school library. The 9 Heavens Divine Thunder I had just awakened, for instance, was well suited to a lightning attribute body tempering art that used the power of lightning to refine the body. Thinking about my talents, I slowly returned to my seat and opened my panel to examine them. Name: Chu Feng. Cultivation: none. Talents: 9 Heavens Divine Thunder, S. Tide of Life, S. Talent Maximization, S. 9 Heavens Divine Thunder, the thunder of heavenly punishment. It destroys the body, scorches the soul, and possesses boundless power. Grants command over unparalleled lightning. Tide of Life, a tide of vitality that revives the withered, nourishes the soul, and renews life without end. Greatly increases the recovery rate of both body and soul. Doubles cultivation speed when practicing body tempering and soul tempering arts. Myriad Worlds Marketplace. Today's deal, purchased. Refreshes daily at exactly midnight. Special event. Every vicious beast you kill has a chance to drop a lucky bag. Lucky bags contain all kinds of rewards, including dragon coins, spirit stones, cultivation arts, weapons, and more. The stronger the vicious beast, the better the lucky bag. Not bad. I looked at my 3 talents with immense satisfaction. 9 Heavens Divine Thunder gave me overwhelming attack power. Even without any cultivation, I estimated that blasting a first-tier, first-level vicious beast to death would be effortless. Whether I could kill a first-tier, fourth-level vicious beast was harder to say. I had never tried, so I still did not know the true power of 9 Heavens Divine Thunder. Even so, I figured I could probably kill one and crush it with ease. If that was not enough, I could activate talent maximization, quadruple the power, and force my way through. 9 Heavens Divine Thunder could also multiply the power of lightning attribute martial techniques. For example, a first-tier lightning technique paired with 9 Heavens Divine Thunder could probably produce the effect of a second-tier technique. Add talent maximization on top of that, and the resulting power was almost unimaginable. Aside from 9 Heavens Divine Thunder, I also had Tide of Life. It gave me endurance, allowing me to fight continuously, while also increasing my cultivation speed. Paired with a body tempering art that strengthened defense, Tide of Life would likely drive martial artists at the same tier to despair. My defense would be high, and my recovery speed would be astonishing. Without sufficient attack power, no one could even hope to hurt me. It was an extraordinarily useful talent as well. 1 talent for offense and 1 for defense. The combination was practically invincible. At the moment, however, the basic body tempering art was my only cultivation method. To draw out the full power of my talents, I had to enter the martial arts track and find a way to acquire better cultivation arts. There was also the special event. Killing vicious beasts could earn lucky bag rewards, which meant I would have to go all out during tomorrow's exam. There was no rule against killing more than 1 vicious beast. I might as well try. What if one dropped a lucky bag? Even the most ordinary items in the marketplace cost tens of thousands of dragon coins. The potential returns were enormous. Besides examining my talents, I also explored the rest of my panel. The Myriad Worlds Marketplace contained countless categories. In addition to talents and cultivation arts, it offered artifact forging, alchemy, formations, and all sorts of things I had barely heard of. The Great Void Cosmic Ring contained an independent miniature world known as the Great Void Realm, spanning 1,000,000 li. Its flow of time could be controlled at a maximum ratio of 1:1,000, and it could be used to grow spirit herbs, raise spirit beasts, and arrange formations. Price: 98 trillion supreme grade spirit stones. The 9 Revolution Golden Pill dramatically raised one's cultivation after consumption and could form a golden body, grant immunity to magical arts, and even allow rebirth from a single drop of blood. Price: 68 trillion supreme-grade spirit stones. The primordial chaos pill engraved one's memories within the chaos itself. If the user's physical body was destroyed, they could be reborn from primordial energy with all their memories intact. Price: 99 trillion supreme-grade spirit stones. There was also the Heavenly Star Immortal Slaying Sword formation. The dazzling array of products went on, each with a price more outrageous than the last. For someone with only 10 dragon coins and 10 cents to his name, those figures were astronomical. Worse, the currency was supreme-grade spirit stones, something I had never even heard of. Still, that did not matter. I could afford the daily deals section, even if its products were random. I had studied it and discovered that every item in that section, no matter what it was, cost just 9.9 dragon coins. It was an incredible bargain. There were also plenty of products priced in ordinary dragon coins. Price: 20,000 dragon coins. First tier Vicious Beast Meat. Increases vitality and blood energy. 1,000 dragon coins per pound. Thunder Body Tempering Art. Uses lightning to strengthen the physique. Price: 390,000 dragon coins. Thunderclap Palm. Greatly strengthens palm strikes. Its power is multiplied when used by someone with a lightning talent. Price: 190,000 dragon coins. Thunderstorm Art. Cultivates and condenses lightning attribute spiritual energy. Price: 630,000 dragon coins. If I worked hard, killed a few more vicious beasts, and sold them, I should be able to earn enough dragon coins to buy the pills and cultivation arts listed on the panel. After all, a pound of first-tier Vicious Beast meat sold for 1,000 coins. I desperately wanted those lightning cultivation arts. Paired with my 9 Heavens Divine Thunder talent, their effects would be outstanding. Then there were the Lucky Bag rewards. My most urgent task, therefore, was passing tomorrow's placement exam. Otherwise, going out to hunt vicious beasts without any techniques or cultivation would be no different from committing suicide. Even with 3 S-rank talents, I doubted I could fight back if I encountered a beast whose strength vastly surpassed mine. It would be better to have a teacher watching over me and showing me exactly what to do. Before long, the awakening ceremony ended. Other than my S-rank talent, only one student in the class had awakened a B-rank talent, Dragon Warrior, which greatly enhanced the body and easily counted as the strongest combat talent in our class. Congratulations rang out all around him. With a talent like that, he had every chance of entering a good university and securing a bright future. After school, I left with the basic body tempering art in hand. I still needed to earn the best score I could on tomorrow's exam. If nothing else, I wanted to see whether practicing the body tempering art could raise my cultivation to the first tier, first level. Having cultivation would give me far more confidence in battle. Only when talent and cultivation level work together could they produce an effect greater than the sum of their parts. I returned to my home in the old part of the city. Downstairs was the small restaurant we rented. Upstairs was the 2-bedroom apartment where Han Shui and I lived. The door stood slightly ajar, with a sign reading "Closed for the day" hanging from it. The first thing I saw was a table covered in steaming dishes, red braised pork, twice-cooked pork, pork stir-fried with chilies. It was a lavish spread. "Auntie, I'm home." I tossed my backpack aside and went into the kitchen to help prepare dinner. Han Shui was still working on several dishes. Her skin was fair, and she looked no older than 18 or 19. With her delicate features, no one would ever guess she was already 25. "This is a lot of food. Are we having guests tonight?" I did not stand idle after entering the kitchen. I helped wash and prep the vegetables. "Xiaofeng, you're back." Han Shui's warm smile sent a pleasant warmth through my chest. "No guests. Today was your talent awakening, wasn't it? How did it go? Any good news?" My first instinct was to tell her I had 3 S-rank talents. On second thought, however, a martial artist was only supposed to awaken 1 talent. 3 was far too outrageous. If the wrong people found out, they could easily bring unnecessary trouble to both me and my aunt. Everyone already knew about my S-rank talent maximization, but I still decided to conceal part of the truth. When the time came, I would simply claim that my talent had mutated into the S-rank 9 Heavens Divine Thunder. That talent was bound to be exposed anyway. If I held back while fighting tomorrow, I might not even make it into the martial arts track. I had no confidence that I could cultivate to the first tier, first level in a single day. I would definitely have to use 9 Heavens Divine Thunder. There was no need to reveal the other 2. Aside from the teachers present during an awakening, Almost no one could examine another person's talents. If Ms. Yang asked tomorrow why my talent had turned into lightning, I would say it was a genetic mutation or that something had gone wrong with the ritual. It was a happy development for everyone, so there was no reason to interrogate me over it, right? If I truly could not hide everything, the worst-case scenario was exposing two S-rank talents. I would still have one trump card left, so it would not be a serious problem. With that settled, I pushed the matter out of my mind and prepared to tell my aunt about my S-rank 9 Heaven's Divine Thunder so we could celebrate together. But Han Shui seemed to notice my hesitation. She wiped her hands. It's all right. Any talent is fine. There's nothing wrong with focusing on academics. I can keep supporting you through university. The martial arts track is so dangerous. If a vicious beast ever ate you by accident, I honestly wouldn't know how to go on living all by myself. As she spoke, tears began flowing of their own accord, and she sank helplessly into the mood she had created. I drew a deep breath, and her faint, warm fragrance filled my nose. It smelled wonderful. Han Shui had already reached the second tier. As an ordinary person who had only awakened today, I was no match for her strength. You don't have to worry, Auntie. I awakened an S-rank talent. Even in the martial arts track, I'll be among the strongest of the strong. I had 3 S-rank talents. One of them even restored my health at high speed. I was as hard to kill as a cockroach. Awakening an S-rank talent, even a lifestyle talent, was enough to make someone a member of the elite whom every organization wanted to recruit. Dishes prepared by a top chef using vicious beast meat could provide additional enhancements, which were extremely helpful to martial artists. A meal that both filled your stomach and granted special effects. How could it possibly be unpopular? Every trade had its masters. A top-tier talent could never be worthless. Really, I nodded firmly. At the same time, dark blue electric arcs gathered over my right hand and danced like tiny snakes. That's wonderful. Hurry and take the dishes out. I'm going to prepare a surprise for you. The moment she finished speaking, Han Shui rushed upstairs. Watching my aunt's retreating back filled my heart with warmth. I finished preparing the food and served 2 bowls of rice. Once everything was ready in the dining room, I quietly waited for her to return so we could eat. Han Shui soon came running back with a bankbook. The moment she sat at the table, she placed it in my hands. There are 30,000 dragon coins in there. It's the money I've saved over the years. It isn't much, but it's my way of supporting you. Take it. Martial cultivation was impossible without resources. Now that I had awakened an S-rank talent, she naturally intended to support me with everything she had. I truly did need resources, but I also knew she needed money for countless expenses. There was the restaurant's rent, for example, and the ingredients she bought every day. She might earn 6,000 dragon coins a month, but after rent and ordinary living expenses, she could save only about 1,000. On top of that, she paid my school fees. I also remembered her plan to save 500,000 dragon coins and buy the restaurant outright. If I took these 30,000, the financial pressure on her would become much heavier. Auntie, I can't take this money. The martial path isn't something I'll finish overnight. If I take all your money, won't we have trouble even putting food on the table? I appreciate what you're trying to do, but I absolutely can't accept it. Han Shui, however, used her second-tier martial cultivation to force the bankbook into my hands. Take it. Are you refusing to listen to your own aunt now? I saved this money for you. It's meant to help you take your first steps on the martial path. You don't need to worry about the family. I'm here. I still wanted to refuse. 30,000 was not much in the world of martial arts, but for an ordinary person like my aunt, it was enough to make life far more comfortable. She firmly placed several pieces of meat in my bowl. I ate my rice and stopped arguing, but privately decided to keep the money safe for her. Once I had saved enough of my own, I would use it to help her buy the restaurant and give her a surprise. Of course it is. This is vicious beast meat. It's incredibly nourishing. As she spoke, Han Shui put several more pieces into my bowl. What? Doesn't that cost 1,000 dragon coins a pound? I was stunned. That was the frightening price I had seen in the Myriad World's marketplace, and it was only first-tier vicious beast meat. Of course not. Even the most expensive first-tier beast meat is only 500 dragon coins a pound. Second-tier meat costs more than 10,000, but that's something we can't afford. I frowned slightly. So the products in the Myriad World's marketplace were more expensive than they were in my world? If you don't believe me, you can look it up yourself. Would your aunt lie to you? Warmth filled my heart. I nodded and placed a few pieces of vicious beast meat in her bowl as well. After dinner, I returned to my room. The first thing I did was pick up the basic body tempering art and begin cultivating. The beast meat I had just eaten made my body feel hot, and filled me with abundant vitality and blood energy. It was bound to improve the results of my training. A body tempering art trained the physique, greatly increasing both strength and defense. Its progression was divided into 9 stages: skin refinement, bone forging, flesh tempering, meridian condensation, organ opening, marrow foundation, blood mobilization, sinew transformation, and golden body. The 9 stages corresponded to the 9 tiers of martial cultivation. The first tier skin refinement stage was further divided into 3 minor stages: copper skin, silver skin, and jade skin. Those corresponded to levels 1 through 3, 4 through 6, and 7 through 9 respectively. Once I entered the copper skin stage, my skin would take on a faint bronze color and its defensive strength would rise dramatically. That would mean I had successfully crossed the threshold. I studied the basic body tempering art and began my martial training by following its method of pounding and refining the body. I silently recited the mnemonic chant while striking my body with both fists. Once a faint pain appeared, I followed the chant and circulated the vitality and blood energy throughout my body. Even the most talented people usually required 7 or 8 days of repetition, along with medicinal baths, to succeed. At its core, skin refinement strengthened the body through a cycle of injury and recovery. Injuring yourself was easy. Recovering took time. Resources were also needed to accelerate the process. If the damage could not heal promptly and someone forced themselves to continue training, one injury could pile on top of another and inflict irreversible harm. I, however, possessed 3 S-rank talents. An S-rank talent already accelerated cultivation on its own, and my S-rank tide of life rapidly healed my injuries. My efficiency was anything but ordinary. After running through the basic body tempering art only twice, my entire body began to heat up. Empowered by 3 S-rank talents, I cultivated at an absurd speed, without needing to worry about injury. When I reached a critical point in my training, I activated talent maximization without hesitation, increasing the effects of all my talents by another 100%. The enhanced tide of life accelerated my cultivation even further. In the next instant, vitality and blood energy surged through me, and the skin across my entire body emitted a faint bronze glow. I curled my hand into a fist and felt the toughness of my body and the strength contained within it. I was filled with confidence about tomorrow's exam. Facing an actual vicious beast might be another matter. Still, after this breakthrough, I felt that even without 9 heavens divine thunder, I could probably qualify for the martial arts track with ease. Besides, it was still early, only 11:30 at night. The next deal was about to appear. My mind also felt much sharper after my breakthrough, so there was no reason to go to sleep now. I would keep cultivating. I might even have a chance to break through to the silver skin stage, the first tier, 4th level. The higher my cultivation, the more attention the school would give me, and the more resources I would naturally receive. With sufficient cultivation, I could even go out and hunt low-tier vicious beasts, earn piles of dragon coins, exchange them for excellent cultivation resources, and give my aunt and myself a better life. Raising my cultivation as much as possible was therefore my highest priority. I calmed my mind and prepared to continue pounding my body and practicing the basic body tempering art. Just then, a wave of hunger rose inside me. Cultivation consumed vitality, blood, and energy, all of which required ample nourishment. I opened the refrigerator. There were still plenty of leftovers inside. So martial cultivation really is inseparable from vicious beast meat. But vicious beast meat costs several hundred dragon coins a pound. I had only 200 dragon coins in spending money. To buy enough beast meat for cultivation, I would have to dip into my aunt's savings, and I did not want to squander her money. After considering it for a moment, I endured the hunger and returned to my room. Tomorrow, I would do everything I could to enter the martial arts track. The school provided beast meat to those students and took them out to hunt vicious beasts. Even one beast weighed at least several dozen pounds, so that would solve my meat problem easily. As I thought, the time quietly passed midnight. The system notification appeared at the same moment. Today's deal: 1 pound of hand-shredded mountain bull meat. Mountain bull, 2nd tier, vicious beast. Stunning price, 9.9 dragon coins. Today only, buy 1 get 1 free. I looked at the refreshed panel, and my heart stirred. There it was, discounted 2nd tier vicious beast meat. A single pound of 2nd tier beast meat was worth more than 10,000 dragon coins. Now it cost only 9.9. They were practically giving it away. The system was incredible. The 10 dragon coins and 10 cents in my pocket vanished instantly, leaving me with 20 cents. Purchase successful. 2 plates of mountain bull meat appeared inside my system space without warning. With a thought, I brought them in front of me. The rich aroma made my mouth water. I might have just eaten my fill, but if I made a little room, I could probably manage some more. Without hesitation, I picked up the mountain bull meat and stuffed it into my mouth piece after piece. Even though I was already full, I barely noticed. All I could think about was how fragrant and delicious it was. As the meat entered my stomach, my hunger gradually vanished. The second-tier mountain bull meat transformed into vitality and blood energy that strengthened my body. Seizing the opportunity, I followed the mnemonic chant of the body-tempering art and began pounding and refining my body on the spot, reinforcing my cultivation. As I digested the mountain bull meat, the sky gradually brightened. The moment I swallowed the final piece, my aura surged. The skin across my body glowed a deep bronze. On closer inspection, faint traces of silver white could be seen within it. First tier, third level. In a single night, using only 2 pounds of mountain bull meat, I had advanced all the way to the late copper skin stage. I stood only 1 step away from silver skin. My strength and physical toughness had risen again. I picked up the craft knife on my desk and lightly drew its blade across my skin. It left only the faintest white mark. My defense was astonishing. My strength had also increased several-fold. Right now, I felt as though I could kill a first-tier, first-level vicious beast with 1 punch. My offensive power had risen as well. With 9 heavens divine thunder, I could probably blast a first-tier, 6th-level beast to death without effort. I turned toward the window. The sun was gradually rising. That should do it. Today's placement exam is mine. My aunt had gotten up early to work and prepare the day's ingredients. She always made my breakfast ahead of time as well. The moment I came downstairs, Han Shui noticed the faint bronze sheen on my body. She remembered that Xiao Feng had only awakened his talent yesterday. How had he already broken through to the skin refinement stage today? A person could only begin martial cultivation after awakening a talent. Otherwise, training would damage the body. That meant Xiao Feng must have started cultivating yesterday and broken through to skin refinement in a single night. As far as she knew, even the fastest breakthrough to skin refinement took 7 days. Xiao Feng's speed was unbelievable. Han Shui rushed to my side, placed her hands on my shoulders, and examined me closely. After confirming that I truly had reached skin refinement, she stood frozen in shock. Xiao Feng, did you break through? Yeah, I reached the first tier, 3rd level. I nodded as if it had been effortless. It truly had not been difficult at all. But when Han Shui heard me, her beautiful eyes widened. Going from no cultivation whatsoever to the first tier, 3rd level in a single night, his cultivation speed was as ridiculous as if he had a system. It seemed Xiao Feng's S-rank lightning talent must be connected to martial cultivation. Otherwise, there was no way he could have broken through so quickly. Every increase in strength made a person that much safer in this world. Han Shui affectionately stroked my head, smiling with delight. After breakfast, I said goodbye to her and headed for school. Han Shui watched my retreating figure, but a trace of melancholy flashed through her eyes. Xiao Feng's parents had died fighting vicious beasts. There was nothing she could do about it. However, with his talent, he was destined to travel farther and farther down the martial path. As his aunt, all she could do was support him as much as possible. After a moment's hesitation, Han Shui took out her phone and dialed a number she had not called in a very long time. I returned to school and took my seat in the classroom. There were still many students present. As long as they had even the slightest hope, they wanted to see whether they could enter the martial arts track, even those who had awakened lifestyle talents. A first-tier, first-level vicious beast was formidable, but anyone who possessed the right combat skills had a chance of defeating one without cultivation. Everyone wanted to try. Failure meant little more than suffering a few injuries. With teachers present, there was no chance of anyone losing their life. Success, on the other hand, meant entering the martial arts track and earning the right to cultivate. If their talents were poor, they had to catch up through their martial cultivation. Chu Feng, do you have any ideas for the fight coming up? A short boy came over. His name was Zhang Kai, one of my classmates, and he had awakened the D-rank master pharmacist talent, which had almost nothing to do with combat. He wanted to ask how I planned to pass the placement exam. After all, my talent maximization was no different from his master pharmacist talent in his eyes. At this stage, it was arguably even worse. The master pharmacist talent offered decent economic prospects in both the early and later stages. Talent maximization might be S-rank, but the benefit it gave a martial artist was possibly inferior to that of some F-rank combat talents. An S-rank talent did increase cultivation speed, But even the fastest recorded breakthrough to the skin refinement stage had taken 7 days. There was no way I could possess any cultivation after a single day. If I had not prepared some method for the placement exam, I would almost certainly fail to enter the martial arts track. Given my attitude yesterday, I was obviously determined to attempt the martial path, so I had to have prepared something. That was why Zhang Kai had come to ask about my method. He believed that whatever worked for me could also help him. Our talent ranks differed enormously, but in everyone else's eyes, both of us currently lacked direct combat power. Come on, share your plan. I'm going to choose a spear. The longer the weapon, the greater the advantage. I'll take that spear and stab the beast to death. Zhang Kai spoke with perfect familiarity, as though we had been close friends for months. I fell silent for a moment, then shook my head. I don't have a plan. I'll kill it with one punch. I was already at the late copper skin stage, the first tier, third level. How could I possibly lose to a first tier, first level beast? If necessary, 9 Heavens Divine Thunder would teach it a lesson. What? One punch? Bro, are you sure you're awake? Vicious beasts were famous for their strength and powerful physiques. Without a talent, a martial artist was generally weaker than a beast at the same level. Taking the placement exam was practically gambling with your life. Yet I claimed I could kill one with a single punch. Was that not pure nonsense? To kill a vicious beast with one punch, I would need to exceed it by at least 2 or 3 levels. Did that mean I had already reached the first tier, third level, or even the fourth? After a single day, the injuries caused by practicing a body tempering art should not even have healed yet. Practicing a body tempering art was extraordinarily difficult. Forget the first tier, third level. If I could break through to the first tier, first level in a single night, my cultivation speed would already be astonishing enough to shatter the record of human history. There could only be one conclusion. I was either bragging or dreaming. But as Zhang Kai stared at me, he suddenly noticed the faint bronze glow emanating from the skin of my neck. What was that? Don't tell me you've already reached the skin refinement stage? Zhang Kai stared at me, and at my bronze-colored skin, in disbelief. That's right. I nodded, then considered the matter. There was no need to hide my cultivation level. I had awakened an S-rank talent, so cultivating a little faster than usual was perfectly reasonable. I'm already at the first tier, third level, I added. Zhang Kai nearly fainted when he heard me. He grabbed my hand and began examining my skin in detail. After studying it for a full 15 minutes, his eyes practically sparkled. I can't tell. I seriously can't tell at all. It looked far too real. My skin was identical to that of a genuine martial artist in the copper skin stage. Excitement filled Zhang Kai's face. He leaned close to my ear and whispered, "Bro, what kind of pill did you take? Can you give me one? I promise you'll be satisfied with the price." A pill? I was confused. I had not taken any pill. All I had eaten was 2 pounds of mountain bull meat. I've already seen through everything, so there's no point pretending anymore, right? Zhang Kai wore the expression of someone who had it all figured out. He explained, even with an S-rank talent, it takes at least 7 days to break through to the copper skin stage. We awakened our talents yesterday. It's only been one night, so there's no way you could have broken through. You absolutely cannot be a copper skin martial artist, much less a first tier, third level one. That story might fool someone else, but you'll never fool me, Zhang Kai. You must have taken some kind of pill that temporarily boosts combat power so you can pass the placement exam. Give me one of the pills you used. I'll pay full price, and the two of us can pass the exam together. What do you say? I shook my head and told him I had not taken any pills. I had earned my first tier, third level cultivation through genuine training. No deal, I said. Outside assistance was forbidden during the placement exam. Anyone caught relying on a special external boost would be disqualified immediately. I had not taken any pill that temporarily raised my cultivation, so there was no chance I would admit to such a thing. Zhang Kai continued pestering and pleading with me for quite a while. The enhancement to my body looked too convincing. There was practically no difference between me and a true copper skin martial artist. A pill capable of producing such a perfect disguise might even fool the teachers supervising the exam. I'm warning you. If you don't hand over the pill, I'll report you for doping. Then neither of us will get into the martial arts track. I was speechless. I told him to report me if he wanted. A clear conscience feared no accusation. I had not taken any pill, so what could Zhang Kai possibly prove? Just then, the bell rang. Ms. Yang entered the classroom, cleared her throat, and said, "Class, stand. Good morning, Ms. Yang." "Good morning, everyone. Take your seats." After the usual routine, Yang Xiaolei began explaining the rules of the placement exam. The exam will be held in the combat arena. You will face a first-tier, first-level chubby pig. Defeat it, and you may enter the school's martial arts track. The martial arts track emphasizes practical combat and is extremely beneficial to martial cultivation. If you're interested in pursuing the martial path, don't miss this opportunity." As she spoke, Yang Xiaolei looked toward me. Without an unyielding martial heart, a student entering the arena would simply be battered by the chubby pig. When she saw the determination in my eyes, she nodded slightly. "Good. Even with a weaker talent, someone willing to grit their teeth and fight the chubby pig with everything they had still stood a chance of killing it." Yang Xiaolei continued. "Of course, not all classes in the martial arts track are equal. Our school has 6 martial arts classes, numbered 1 through 6. The teacher of Class 1 is a 5th-tier organ opening martial artist, while the teacher of Class 6 is only at the 3rd-tier flesh tempering stage. During the upcoming exam, I therefore recommend challenging and killing the highest-level vicious beast you can. If you enter Class 1, the resources you receive will far exceed those available to the other classes." While speaking, Yang Xiaolei turned toward Zheng Hao. Entry into Class 1 came with a condition. A student had to challenge a 1st-tier, 4th-level vicious beast, whose strength was comparable to a martial artist in the silver skin stage. Their performance would be evaluated, and anyone who defeated the beast was guaranteed a place in Class 1. Failing to defeat, it was understandable. Anyone who managed to injure a 1st-tier, 4th-level beast might still be accepted. But without either a talent or cultivation, defeating such a beast was almost impossible. Meeting the homeroom teacher's gaze, Zheng Hao nodded confidently. As for me, there was no point even considering it. My S-rank talent provided no combat power whatsoever, putting me on a completely different track from Zheng Hao and his Dragon Warrior talent. All right, the rules aren't complicated. You simply need to kill a vicious beast. Follow me. It's time to head to the combat arena. After briefly explaining the rules, Yang Xiaolei waved for everyone to follow. Zheng Hao, who possessed the B-rank talent, strode at the very front. I took my time within the group behind him. Zhang Kai still refused to give up. One moment, he threatened me viciously. The next, he begged pitifully, all in hopes of obtaining the secret behind my breakthrough. "Bro, stop messing with me. If you can really break through to the 1st-tier, 3rd level in a single day, then I'll take my own dad's last name. Just tell me what method you used. If I report you later, it'll be embarrassing for both of us." Even the strongest S-rank talent needed 7 days to reach the 1st-tier, 1st level. You have an S-rank talent too, don't you? There's no way you could reach the 3rd level in a single day, unless you have more than 1 S-rank talent. That's ridiculous, right? A martial artist can awaken at most 2 talents. Don't tell me you somehow have 3 S-rank talents increasing your cultivation speed at the same time. Zhang Kai pestered me relentlessly, citing one example after another. When he finally realized I would not budge, he had no choice but to give up. "You forced me to do this." Zhang Kai gritted his teeth inwardly. He would report me. He absolutely had to, and he would report me to the homeroom teacher of Class 1. He planned to make the report before I passed the exam, so I would lose my martial arts eligibility in front of everyone. The combat arena resembled a Roman Colosseum. Its circular center was the battlefield where students faced vicious beasts, while the surrounding stands were packed with students who had come to take the martial arts exam. At that moment, a boy from Nanjiang First High School was fighting in the arena. His opponent was a fat pig covered from head to toe in pink. This was the 1st-tier, 1st-level vicious beast known as the chubby pig. It was over 6 feet long, its entire body packed with dense, powerful fat. It looked capable of sending a person flying with a single impact. At present, the chubby pig was confined behind the iron gate on the western side, waiting to enter the fight. "Ready, begin." The referee blew his whistle, and the iron gate rose with a rumble. The instant the chubby pig saw the opening, it charged the student. The boy held a short dagger, apparently intending to fight at close range. The moment the chubby pig reached him, the boy seized his opportunity, raised the dagger, and stabbed down with all his might. The blade sliced across the pig's thick hide, leaving a conspicuous wound that began to bleed. It did not, however, inflict any meaningful damage. Instead, it provoked the beast's ferocity. With a violent upward toss, the chubby pig sent the boy flying more than 10 feet. His dagger spun from his hand, costing him his only means of attack. After launching him through the air, the beast did not pause. Snout lowered, it charged again. The boy had clearly not awakened a combat talent. Once he lost the dagger, he had effectively lost all his fighting power. Faced with a chubby pig possessing tremendous vitality and overwhelming strength, he had almost no ability to resist. "I surrender." He did not want to suffer a second injury. If the academic track was his only choice, so be it. At that moment, he accepted his fate. You are not allowed to surrender. The muscular referee cut off the boy's plea. He was Wei Tian, the homeroom teacher of martial arts class 1 and a powerful fifth-tier organ opening martial artist. He explained, a vicious beast sees you as nothing but food. Your only chance of survival is to fight to the end. Surrender? That guarantees your death. Unless you lose consciousness or your life is in danger, get up and fight until you can't move. Outside the arena, most of the students began murmuring when they heard that rule. Isn't that way too brutal? This is only an exam. Exactly. If he can't win, that should be the end of it. What's wrong with taking the academic track? Now I'm almost afraid to take the exam. Getting launched by a pig looks humiliating enough. With a chubby pig that size, being hit once has to hurt like hell. Forget it. I'm going home. I'm done with the exam. I'll just watch. Inside the arena, the boy's head buzzed after hearing the rule. The chubby pig charged like a living battering ram and smashed its broad snout into his head, knocking him unconscious. The battle was over. Only then did Wei Tian move. He easily pinned the chubby pig with one hand and rescued the student. No matter how fiercely the pig struggled, it could not escape his palm. The difference in strength was simply too great. Wei Tian quickly dealt with the situation, had a fresh chubby pig brought in, then shouted, "Next! No chance I'm taking that exam. I have a lifestyle talent. I'd rather go home and farm. Becoming a cook doesn't sound so bad." That was awful. He got knocked out cold. Fighting vicious beasts was far too dangerous. Zhang Kai stood behind me, looking rather dispirited himself. When he glanced at me and saw the confidence in my eyes, confusion crossed his face. Hey, is it really worth risking everything like this? What good will sneaking into the martial arts track do you? Your talent doesn't increase your combat power. Won't you end up just as badly as that guy? I was speechless. There was simply no reasoning with him. I drew a deep breath and explained calmly. I really am at the first tier, third level. You'll see in a minute, won't you? Either you took a pill or you used some secret art. With how confident you look, I definitely can't tell which. I respect your courage, but since you insist on saying that, don't blame me for what happens next. See that referee? That's Wei Tian, homeroom teacher of martial arts class 1. He's a fifth-tier organ opening martial artist. I refuse to believe he won't discover the truth. Besides, no matter how impressive a secret art was, time would eventually expose it. Could my cultivation speed possibly remain this high forever? I might look impressive now, but once I entered the martial arts track, I was bound to suffer. The key was that my talent was useless. Even if my cultivation level was high, I would still become someone others defeated while fighting above their own level. Report me if you want. I did not care. The arena had been cleared, and I was itching to try. Too tired to keep arguing with Zhang Kai, I prepared to jump down and test the strength of a first-tier, first-level chubby pig. I had already decided yesterday that I would demonstrate the power of my S-rank 9 Heavens Divine Thunder. No martial artist had ever awakened 2 talents at once. If anyone asked why I could wield lightning after awakening talent maximization, I could claim that my talent had mutated. Or I could simply announce that I had awakened 2 talents. No one had ever done it before, but now someone had. Just as I started moving toward the arena, Zheng Hao, the student with the B-rank Dragon Warrior combat talent, jumped down ahead of me. I'll go. He had no cultivation, yet an irresistible aura radiated from his body, as though a colossal dragon had descended to crush everything before it. When Wei Tian saw Zheng Hao's bearing, he nodded slightly. This was the fearless spirit a martial artist needed. Only someone with that momentum could advance triumphantly along the martial path. In the stands, Yang Xiaolei clenched her fists and silently cheered for Zheng Hao. His B-rank Dragon Warrior talent was the strongest combat profession in their class. He had an excellent chance of entering the martial arts track. Ready. Begin. Inside the arena, the instant Wei Tian gave the signal, the chubby pig charged onto the field and barreled straight toward Zheng Hao. Facing the first-tier, first-level beast, Zheng Hao showed no fear. He roared. His muscles swelled, and the phantom of an enormous dragon seemed to envelop his body, greatly increasing his strength. Zheng Hao raised his right fist and smashed it toward the chubby pig's head. Boom! The impact was tremendous, but Zheng Hao did not move an inch. The chubby pig's head took the full force of the blow. It staggered 2 steps, then collapsed unconscious. A beast capable of launching an ordinary person through the air had fallen to Zheng Hao in a single strike. That was the power of the B-rank Dragon Warrior talent. Murmurs rose among the students. He's too strong. He took it down with one punch, and that's without any cultivation. Imagine how powerful he'll be after practicing body tempering arts and martial techniques. That's a B-rank talent. Only 2 appeared in our entire school. There's also 1 A-rank talent and 1 S-rank. I heard the A-rank talent is powerful too. I think it's called the Profound Ice Domain, and it can summon incredibly strong ice. Damn, even the name sounds powerful. What about the S-rank talent? Isn't it even stronger? Looks like the person with the A-rank talent is probably the strongest in our school, right? Zhang Kai turned toward me, making a petty comparison on Zheng Hao's behalf. Can your S-rank talent do anything that impressive? It's much stronger than that. I had not tested 9 Heavens Divine Thunder yet, but the descriptions of my 2 talents alone told me all I needed to know. 1 blast from 9 Heavens Divine Thunder would turn that chubby pig into roast pork on the spot. Yeah, right. Keep bragging. You'll suffer when everyone sees what you really are. Since I insisted on being stubborn, Zhang Kai could not be bothered to argue any further. He would wait and see the result. Excellent. What's your name? Zheng Hao. Do you want to continue? Killing a first-tier, second-level beast earns you 2 vitality pills. A third-level beast earns 3, and there is no upper limit. Vitality pills. Zheng Hao drew a deep breath. One of those pills cost 10,000 dragon coins, making them extremely expensive for an ordinary family. 1 vitality pill provided the same benefit as 10 pounds of first-tier vicious beast meat. Better yet, it contained concentrated vitality and blood energy, making it more useful for a martial artist's cultivation and breakthroughs. Zheng Hao did not come from a wealthy family. Without hesitation, he nodded, determined to secure more cultivation resources for himself. I want to challenge a first-tier, 4th-level vicious beast directly. May I? Of course. Wei Tian waved to the staff and had them prepare the next challenge. A moment later, he called, "Ready. Begin." Inside the arena, the heavy iron gate on the western side rose rapidly. A gigantic boar came into view, standing 6 feet tall and more than 13 feet long, its entire body covered in black bristles. In addition to its enormous size, sharp tusks nearly 2 feet long grew on either side of its rough snout. Anyone struck by those tusks would most likely be disemboweled on the spot. This was a berserk boar, a first-tier, 4th-level vicious beast. Even among beasts of the same level, the berserk boar ranked near the top in combat strength. The students began talking the moment they saw the giant boar. How is anyone supposed to fight that? Even breaking through its defense looks impossible. Those tusks are terrifying. Just brushing against one could seriously injure you. It looks 6 feet tall. Facing that thing head-on must be horrifying. I wouldn't stand a chance. Compared to this, the chubby pig is adorable. Getting tossed around by a chubby pig suddenly doesn't seem so bad. I'll stick to academics. Forget the martial arts track. There's no way I can do this. When Zhang Kai saw such a colossal creature in person and felt its savage aura wash over him, he could not stop himself from wanting to retreat. The martial arts track offered excellent treatment, but you had to stay alive to enjoy it. Aren't you afraid? Why should I be? I asked. Come on. Fooling your buddy is one thing, but don't fool yourself too. That boar is enormous, and you don't have any combat talent. What could you possibly use to fight it? After hearing my answer, Zhang Kai thought he finally understood. A newborn calf did not fear the tiger. One hit from a boar that size could knock my soul straight out of my body. He looked into the arena. The berserk boar had already reached Zheng Hao. Its head dipped slightly, positioning its tusks for an attack. The moment it jerked its head upward, those razor-sharp tusks could rip its opponent open. Zheng Hao roared, as if gaining 3 points of courage. The muscles across his entire body swelled. With a loud tear, his school uniform split apart, revealing a powerful physique. Faint red scales covered his body, giving him astonishing defensive strength. Dragon Bloodline, fully activated. Taking advantage of the moment when the berserk boar lowered its head, Zheng Hao raised his fist and smashed it down onto the beast's skull. Boom. Fist met bone. With terrifying strength, Zheng Hao forcibly suppressed the berserk boar. A teeth-grinding crack echoed across the arena. When its first attack failed, the berserk boar immediately pulled back and prepared to charge again. Zheng Hao's face twisted. His right hand, the one he had just punched with, was bent at an unnatural angle. He had clearly suffered a severe injury in the clash. His fist was not as hard as a boar's skull, and the bones in his right hand had fractured on impact. Excruciating pain swept through Zheng Hao's mind. With his right fist disabled and pain affecting his movements, his combat power plummeted. The berserk boar dug its hind legs into the ground and thrust its long tusks toward his vital organs. Zheng Hao was in extreme danger. Wei Tian, the referee, merely watched with a calm expression. He showed no intention of stepping in to save him. In the stands, many spectators closed their eyes as though the outcome were already decided. Blood was about to soak the entire arena. The berserk boar drove its tusk straight at Zheng Hao's body. Zheng Hao was already badly injured. Even before his injury, he had suffered heavily in his clash with the beast. Now the situation could only become worse. Yet he found a chance to counterattack. As the berserk boar charged, Zheng Hao shifted slightly to one side. Using his smaller body, he skimmed past the razor-sharp tusk and evaded the attack with ease. But that was not enough. Dodging forever would never bring him victory. As Zheng Hao brushed past the boar's long tusk, he raised his right elbow and smashed it down at the tusk's midpoint. Crack! The tusk snapped. At least that would buy him a moment to breathe. But the pain sent the berserk boar into a frenzy, its massive body thrashing wildly. The broken tusk was shorter now, making it even more effective at close range. Whoosh! The remaining half of the tusk raked mercilessly across Zheng Hao's body. Its tremendous force tore a horrifying wound through him, and his dragon warrior scales flew in every direction, stained scarlet with blood. The strike critically injured Zheng Hao. Agony shot straight through his skull, and he lost consciousness on the spot. The wound across his chest was ghastly. White bone could be seen faintly beneath it. The boar lowered its head, preparing to gore his helpless body again and again. Then the enormous berserk boar's eyes rolled back, and it collapsed unconscious. Wei Tian appeared beside Zheng Hao and began examining his injuries. After a brief inspection revealed that they were only wounds to the flesh, he tapped Zheng Hao's body twice and successfully woke him. He took out a pill and forced it into Zheng Hao's mouth. Its potent medicinal power rapidly stopped his injuries from worsening. You lack combat experience and still have a great deal to improve. Go rest for now. All right. Zheng Hao slowly rose, staggered out of the arena, and returned to the stands. It was possible. A first-tier, fourth-level beast may be powerful, but it isn't very intelligent. He did everything he could. He's still a complete beginner, after all. Breaking one of the berserk boar's tusks is already impressive. The guy before him couldn't even beat a chubby pig. For a beginner, reaching this level truly is excellent. Inside the arena, Wei Tian casually dealt with the berserk boar. Then he called. Next. The blood on the ground had not even dried before Wei Tian began the next round of testing. This time, the stands fell completely silent. The berserk boar had left too powerful an impression. Zheng Hao had nearly been disemboweled. His chest bones had been exposed, and the beating he suffered was miserable to watch. Most importantly, the boar had taken no fatal injury at all. Losing one tusk barely affected its combat power. At that moment, I stepped forward. I leaped into the arena and looked confidently at Wei Tian. In the stands, Zhang Kai stared at my spirited figure, wanting to speak, but holding himself back. In the end, he gave up on reporting me. The martial arts track did offer excellent benefits, but anyone willing to gamble with their life to earn them deserved respect. Zhang Kai could only give me this. He raised a thumb. Martial arts students were warriors who put their lives on the line. Zhang Kai felt no jealousy whatsoever over their better treatment. Zhang Kai might have decided not to report me, but Wei Tian's eyes widened the moment he saw me. Wait, was I even a student at Nanjiang First High School? Had I simply wandered in to take its placement exam? My first-tier, third-level cultivation was plain to see. Did I think a fifth-tier organ-opening martial artist like him was blind? Get out of here. Stop causing trouble. Students had awakened their talents only yesterday and had just gained the ability to cultivate. Reaching the first tier, third level in one day? What kind of nonsense was that? Why? I'm a student at Nanjiang First High School too. I'm allowed to take the placement exam. I was confused. There was no reason for him to throw me out the moment I arrived. You? Which class are you in? If you can't answer, don't blame me for what happens next. Wei Tian glared at me. He had clearly decided that if I was not a student here, I deserved to be punished for disrupting the exam. Did I think this serious placement test was some kind of joke? I'm in senior class 7. My homeroom teacher is Ms. Yang Xiaolei. She's sitting right there in the stands. I explained while looking toward Ms. Yang. Yang Xiaolei stood up at once. I was her student, and I had awakened an S-rank talent, so I had left a particularly strong impression. Chu Feng is a student in my class, and he awakened an S-rank talent. Zheng Hao can testify as well. Do you have some concern, Mr. Wei? Not far away, the badly injured Zheng Hao managed to speak. Chu Feng really is my classmate. The talent he awakened was the S-rank talent maximization. He had even named my talent, removing almost any doubt that we were classmates. The words S-rank talent maximization, however, stirred quiet discussion among the crowd. So he's the one who awakened the S-rank talent? What a shame. Among all S-rank talents, talent maximization has the highest upper limit, but it's also the most useless. If Chu Feng reaches the 7th tier and awakens another S-rank talent, talent maximization's doubling effect will effectively give him the equivalent of 4 talents. That would be outrageous. But if he accidentally awakens a lifestyle talent, or even an F-rank talent, then talent maximization will be completely wasted. Its ceiling is certainly high, but its floor is terrifyingly low, and he has to reach the 7th tier first. The requirement is unbelievably harsh. It has no combat power in the early stages. It feels worse than some C-rank talents. Exactly. The students found plenty to criticize about talent maximization. But seriously, what was wrong with this kid? Even with an S-rank talent, the fastest anyone had ever reached the first tier, first level, was 7 full days. Yet in one day, he had somehow shot all the way to the 3rd level. Did he think cultivation was instantaneous? Did body tempering training take no time? Did the injuries inflicted during training not need time to heal? Even if his cultivation speed was fast enough for him to break through in one night. What was the meaning of this first tier, 3rd level cultivation? Wei Tian seized my wrist and sent his vitality and blood energy through me to inspect my body. He had initially suspected that I had used a secret art that overdrew my potential, but after examining me for a moment, his expression grew increasingly grave. My skin was already approaching the silver skin stage, yet my body contained no hidden injuries or lingering medicinal power. Ordinary body tempering cultivation required repeatedly injuring and repairing the body. Even for someone with an S-rank talent, the fastest recorded breakthrough to the first tier, first level, was 7 days. I had used only one night, yet my cultivation had already reached the first tier, 3rd level. Do you possess some special constitution that repairs your body at high speed? Wei Tian released my wrist and publicly announced his conclusion. My recovery speed far exceeded that of an ordinary martial artist. As a result, I could temper my body continuously without spending days waiting for it to heal. He checked my vitality, blood energy, and skin strength once more, confirming that my cultivation was not a disguise and showed no sign of being forcibly raised by pills. That result mattered even more than the breakthrough itself. No matter how quickly a person cultivated, damaged foundations would eventually trap them at a low tier. My physical condition, however, was nearly flawless. Only then did Yang Xiaolei take a closer look at my skin. When she saw the trace of silver mixed into its bronze color, she shot to her feet. First tier, 3rd level? That's right. Wei Tian raised his voice. Chu Feng is already a first tier, 3rd level martial artist, and his physical foundations are extremely stable. The stands erupted. Yang Xiaolei had given me only the most basic body tempering art yesterday, and she knew my aunt could not possibly have prepared expensive pills for me. Other than a special constitution, she could think of no explanation. The basic body tempering art offered no additional effects. It could only refine the skin step by step. An ordinary student had to stop and recover after practicing a few times each day. With Tide of Life, however, I could heal rapidly and immediately begin another round of training. I could compress a month of accumulation for someone else into a matter of days. Zheng Hao also put away his contempt. After practicing the basic body tempering art, his entire body ached and he needed at least several days of rest. In a single night, I had already traveled a distance that would take him several months. Breaking through 3 levels in one day, he's already shattered the record. But talent maximization has no offensive power. A high cultivation level doesn't necessarily make him strong in actual combat. The debate continued around me. I did not explain Tide of Life, much less expose my other 2 S-rank talents. My cultivation level was only my first trump card. 9 Heavens Divine Thunder was the answer I was about to show them. Wei Tian did not rush to a conclusion either. He had proven only my cultivation speed and the stability of my foundations. He had yet to see my true attack power. The placement exam judged battle results, not numbers on a cultivation chart. I raised my head and looked at the vicious beast in the arena. The moment the battle began, every doubt would be answered. Inside the arena, I knew my cultivation speed had indeed been a little too fast. I remained silent for a moment, giving everyone time to absorb the shock. Only after Wei Tian, the referee, gradually recovered did I speak. Can we start? I was eager to kill a vicious beast and test the Myriad Worlds Marketplace's special event. If the lucky bag rewarded me with a cultivation art, I would make an absolute fortune. I had seen the prices in the marketplace. Even the most ordinary cultivation manual started at 300,000 dragon coins. Even if someone sold me by the pound, I probably would not be worth that much. All right, I have no more questions. Now that Wei Tian had confirmed I was a student at his school, he had no reason to keep investigating me. He raised a hand and shouted, "Ready." The iron gate opposite me slowly rose. A pink-skinned chubby pig came snorting into the arena. Facing this first-tier, first-level vicious beast, I decided not to hold back at all. I would kill it with everything I had. Nine Heavens Divine Thunder. With a sharp crackle, deep blue lightning instantly covered my body, granting me attack power far beyond my current cultivation level. The moment Nine Heavens Divine Thunder appeared, an intense pressure swept across the arena. In the next instant, the divine lightning erupted from my body like a waterfall and poured into the chubby pig. A deafening blast rang out. The beast had no power to resist and died on the spot. I withdrew the Nine Heavens Divine Thunder. A notification immediately appeared on my panel. You killed a vicious beast and were fortunate enough to receive a first-tier, first-level lucky bag. Only a few seconds had passed between my summoning Nine Heavens Divine Thunder and killing the chubby pig. The destructive aura contained in the lightning had not even faded. Not far away, Wei Tian had witnessed the entire battle. His mouth hung open. Wait, wasn't my talent supposed to be talent maximization, the most useless S-rank talent, with a deeply uncertain future? When had it transformed into lightning famous for its offensive power? And lightning capable of instantly killing a chubby pig had to be A rank or even S rank. An overwhelmingly powerful talent combined with my absurd cultivation speed. Had this kid actually turned on cheats? Was that a martial technique? I was so dazzling that even a fifth-tier organ opening martial artist like Wei Tian could hardly look directly at me. Besides, even if it was a martial technique, learning it within a single day would still be an unprecedented and absurd achievement. I don't know. I just felt like I knew how to do it, so I did. I put on a confused expression. What martial technique? It was obviously a talent. The problem was that there was something unusual about my talents, so I needed to find a way to bluff my way through. I did not understand it and could not explain it. I simply wielded lightning. What else could anyone say? Either the testing instrument had malfunctioned or my talent had mutated. In any case, I had awakened a lightning attribute talent with outrageously high attack power. A powerful talent was even more disheartening to others than a powerful martial technique. A martial technique could still be learned, but talent was a chasm between martial artists that could never be crossed. With such a mighty talent and such absurd cultivation speed, my future could no longer be measured by ordinary standards. Everyone in the stands was stunned when they saw the deep blue lightning I had released. What? Who said that kid's talent was talent maximization? Can't they see lightning that thick? That is clearly a rare lightning talent. Its offensive power is off the charts. Chu Feng cultivates so quickly, and he has such a powerful talent. I think the Dragon Nation is about to produce another peerless martial artist. The students who did not know the truth had merely discovered that my talent was powerful. But my classmates, especially Yang Xiaolei, who had personally watched me awaken, were completely dumbfounded. She distinctly remembered me awakening talent maximization. How could it suddenly have become such a formidable lightning talent? I had killed a chubby pig with one strike. Not only did I cultivate quickly, my combat power was also ridiculously high. Seriously, had every good thing in the world fallen into my lap? Fortunately, it was merely an S-rank lightning talent and did not break any human record. Compared with my aptitude for cultivation, my awakened combat talent was hardly worth mentioning. Unless I had awakened 2 or even 3 S-rank talents, there was nothing historically unique about it. Other people had awakened S-rank lightning talents before. Beside Yang Xiaolei, Zheng Hao gave a bitter smile after witnessing my attack. He had thought that no matter how quickly I cultivated, that was all I had. In the future, wouldn't I still become someone whom others defeated above their level? Even moments ago, Zheng Hao had been confident that he could fight me to a draw. Now the last scraps of his superiority had been obliterated by my deep blue Nine Heavens Divine Thunder. Whether in cultivation speed or talent strength, I had crushed him completely. Not far away, Zhang Kai looked ready to faint. What had happened to the secret art he imagined? How could my cultivation be so high while my talent was equally outrageous? How was someone with a lifestyle talent like him supposed to compete? At that moment, Zhang Kai felt a burst of relief. Thank goodness he had not actually reported me to Wei Tian. If he had, he would have humiliated himself beyond recovery. Inside the arena, Wei Tian looked at the chubby pig my lightning had turned into roast pork and waved for the staff to clear it away. Then he turned to me. Why don't you challenge a first-tier, fourth-level berserk board directly? I recognize your strength. You'll still receive the vitality pills. I shook my head instead. Killing vicious beasts gave me a chance to obtain lucky bags. Why pass up free opportunities? Hunting alone in the wilderness was dangerous. Here, I could kill safely and without worry. I explained. I still want to test the power of my talent, so I don't want to skip any levels. Wei Tian nodded. That makes sense. A talent requires practice before you can use it skillfully. Powerful talents in particular are best paired with martial techniques if you want to draw out their full strength. I then gestured for the staff to release a first-tier, second-level black boar for my next challenge. During the brief pause, I opened the exquisite blue lucky bag in my system space. Congratulations. You have obtained an inherited memory. 3,000 lightning steps. Incomplete. 3,000 lightning steps. The supreme movement technique of a powerhouse from a parallel universe. An immense tide of memories immediately poured from the lucky bag into my mind. Because it was an inherited memory, I barely needed to study. Every technique involved in 3,000 lightning steps was engraved directly into my mind. It was a movement art. Using it required spiritual power and command over some form of lightning. The stronger the lightning, the faster the user could move. My S-rank 9 Heaven's Divine Thunder was more than powerful enough to drive 3,000 lightning steps. The only problem was that I had no spiritual power, so I could not display the art's full might. The inherited memory was incomplete as well, containing only about 5% of the technique's effects. In my current state, I could unleash less than 1% of the complete 3,000 lightning steps. Even so, I could travel more than 300 feet in the blink of an eye, an impressive speed. I knew that moving several hundred feet in an instant normally required a second-tier martial artist paired with a top movement technique. As a first-tier martial artist possessing only 9 Heaven's Divine Thunder, I could already cover that distance in the blink of an eye. That meant I could escape from many second-tier vicious beasts. 3,000 lightning steps might be incomplete, and I could not even draw out all the power of the incomplete version. But once I assembled the entire technique and gained spiritual power, circling the whole of Blue Planet in an instant probably would not be a problem. Are you ready? Truly gifted students were always popular, especially a supreme genius among supreme geniuses like me. In the next moment, the heavy iron gate beneath the stands rose, releasing a muscular black boar. This time, I did not immediately blast it to death with 9 Heaven's Divine Thunder. Instead, I rushed toward it, gathering deep blue divine lightning over my right hand. I planned to kill it with the smallest possible expenditure of energy. The school awarded vitality pills for killing vicious beasts, while the system might reward me with lucky bags. I wanted to kill as many beasts as possible and squeeze every last benefit from the system. Safe environments for hunting vicious beasts were rare. I was absolutely going to kill the first-tier, 4th-level Berserk Boar. Using 9 Heaven's Divine Thunder consumed stamina. Since there were many beasts left to kill, I concentrated the divine lightning in my palm to conserve energy. That was also why I did not use 3,000 lightning steps. I could save it for an enemy I could not otherwise defeat. There was no hurry. I soon reached the Black Boar. I unleashed my full first-tier, 3rd-level cultivation. With a sharp crackle, 9 Heaven's Divine Thunder traveled through my palm and invaded the Black Boar's brain, killing it instantly. This beast did not drop a lucky bag, but I did not panic. Instead, I shouted, "Next!" That deep blue lightning is both incredibly powerful and unbelievably cool. He can blast an enemy from a distance or inject lightning into its body at close range for devastating damage. It's a shame Chu Feng doesn't know any martial techniques. If he learned a movement art, he'd become a walking artillery battery. How is that a shame? Chu Feng awakened his talent yesterday. Do you expect him to master a movement technique in one day? Isn't that a little ridiculous? It won't take long. With Chu Feng's talent, he can learn a martial technique quickly. In the end, his only disadvantage is his age. He has trained for just one day. Inside the arena, Wei Tian praised my decision to conserve stamina. If you defeat a first-tier, 4th-level beast, you may choose a 3rd-tier body tempering art from the school. Defeat a first-tier, 7th-level beast, and you may choose a 3rd-tier breathing method. I know a thunder body tempering art that would suit you perfectly. Once you learn it, your physical strength will be twice that of other cultivators at the same level. And a breathing method can dramatically increase the rate at which your stamina recovers. Once you learn one, you'll be able to use your talent almost without restriction. If you can kill the strongest first-tier, 9th-level beast, the school will award you an additional 10 million dragon coins. A 3rd-tier body tempering art. I think the Dragon Nation's official price is more than 1 million dragon coins. A third-tier breathing method is even more incredible. The cheapest one costs over 4 million. And there's a direct reward of 10 million dragon coins. Go for it, Chu Feng. Has anyone ever defeated a first-tier, 9th-level beast? Can Chu Feng really win? Exactly. I admit his lightning is powerful, but his cultivation is too low, and he doesn't have any martial technique that works with it. Even challenging a first-tier, 7th-level beast will probably be difficult. He can only rely on his talent. No wonder he didn't blast that beast to death from a distance. He was conserving stamina. Can Chu Feng's lightning kill an opponent 6 levels above him? Hard to say. It depends on the beast's species and body type. Some beasts have such thick hides that electricity barely affects them. Others can control lightning themselves and resist lightning damage. It comes down to Chu Feng's luck. In the entire history of Nanjiang First High School, the strongest student to take the placement exam had killed only a first-tier, 7th-level beast. Killing a first-tier, 9th-level beast above one's level only a day after awakening would become a major entry in the history books. Soon, a first-tier, 3rd-level vicious beast was released. One move. 9 Heavens Divine Thunder killed it instantly. Even without the Divine Lightning, my first-tier, 3rd-level cultivation gave me an excellent chance against a beast at the same level. Unfortunately, I still did not receive a lucky bag. Wei Tian then released a berserk boar 6 feet tall and 13 feet long, as massive as a small house. It was a first-tier, 4th-level beast. Zheng Hao had fought it bitterly, yet in the end, he had barely managed to break one tusk. He had caused no meaningful harm and had instead suffered a severe injury because of that broken tusk. The berserk boar's formidable strength was enough to drive most novice martial artists to despair. Snort. The instant the berserk boar appeared, it charged me, its long tusks gleaming with razor-sharp light. Both tusks were intact, making it clear this was a new beast. I showed no fear. Deep blue lightning gathered over my right palm. As the berserk boar closed in, I raised my hand and struck viciously at its head. At that moment, it seemed to sense the power of the lightning in my palm. It abruptly twisted sideways, dodging my strike, then swept its long tusks at me in the same motion. The 2-foot tusks carved through a huge stretch of space, leaving me almost nowhere to evade. The tusks were both sharp and thick. If one cut or struck me, I could be severely injured on the spot, or even disemboweled. The situation was extraordinarily dangerous. The students in the stands felt their hearts leap into their throats. That's dangerous. It's a shame he hasn't mastered a single martial technique. If he knew any movement art at all, the berserk boar would never have gotten this opportunity. Chu Feng doesn't have a weapon either. Otherwise, he might have been able to block. He's paying for his lack of experience. If I faced a vicious beast with built-in weapons like that, I'd blast it from a distance. If he's injured here, he probably won't earn the 10 million dragon coins, right? There are still 5 beasts after this, and every one is stronger than the last. I thought Chu Feng was incredible. Now it looks like he's only about as strong as someone with a B-rank talent. More than anything, however, many people breathed long sighs of relief. They knew it. How could anyone excel at both cultivation and combat? It made no sense. Someone who cultivated quickly could not possibly possess such a powerful talent too. Zheng Hao believed I merely cultivated quickly and that my combat talent might not be stronger than his dragon warrior. With no cultivation at all, he had fought the berserk boar evenly for a time before ultimately losing. Seeing the berserk boar force me into danger restored some of Zheng Hao's confidence. Inside the arena, I faced the sweeping tusks and knew I had nowhere to dodge. If they struck me, I would not escape injury. I also knew several more vicious beasts were waiting. I could not fall here. 3,000 lightning steps. With a thought, I drew upon 9 Heavens Divine Thunder. The lightning around my right fist instantly spread across my entire body. In a flash, deep blue radiance illuminated the whole arena. Then I vanished without warning. The moment I disappeared, a bone-deep wound opened across the berserk boar's head, visible blue lightning still dancing inside it. The boar convulsed, then collapsed with a heavy thud. You killed a vicious beast and were fortunate enough to receive a first-tier, 4th-level lucky bag. Everyone in the stands stared at the fallen berserk boar and the place where I had vanished, completely dumbfounded. Where did he go? Why did the berserk boar fall? What happened? I didn't even blink. Was that a martial technique? That was terrifying. I had just said Chu Feng didn't know any martial techniques, and then he used one. That slap in the face came way too fast. How could it be a martial technique? Have you ever seen a technique that fast? It has to be Chu Feng's talent. Exactly. Learning a martial technique in one day would be far too ridiculous. Then what kind of talent is that? It's outrageous. He vanished with a whoosh and killed the berserk boar along the way. It must be S rank. Nothing else could be this strong. And a top-class S-rank talent at that. When Zheng Hao saw the berserk boar fall, he shot to his feet. The sudden movement tugged at the wound on his chest. He knew better than anyone how powerful that beast was. When he fought it, his fist had fractured, yet the boar's head had taken no damage at all. That proved its defense and vitality were far beyond what an ordinary martial artist could overcome. Yet I had opened a deep wound across its enormous skull with ease. My attack power stood far above that of Zheng Hao's Dragon Warrior talent. And that method of vanishing from the spot was simply unheard of. Dragon Warrior could only increase strength and defense. If Zheng Hao fought me, he could not imagine any way to win. My body felt slightly weak. I had been wrong. Zheng Hao finally stopped comparing himself to me. It was bad enough that my cultivation speed was astonishing. My talent was also so overwhelmingly powerful that even someone with a B-rank talent could only look up at me from far below. Yang Xiaolei watched the arena with a complicated expression. She had thought entering the martial arts track at all would count as an extraordinary performance from me. She had never expected such an outrageous talent. The speed I had just displayed would have caught even her, a second-tier martial artist, off guard. If she fought me, she feared that even as my teacher, she might not survive a single move. Zhang Kai's expression also became complicated after watching me kill the berserk boar. He finally understood that our strength no longer existed on the same level. After killing the boar, I tested the maximum speed of 3,000 lightning steps a little longer before returning to everyone's view. The blue light faded from my body, and when I reappeared, Wei Tian stared in shock. With his 5th-tier cultivation, he had seen my movements perfectly. What I had used was definitely a martial technique, and a high-level movement art suited to my lightning talent. A martial technique. Had this kid truly awakened only yesterday? Judging solely by my combat performance, Wei Tian would have believed I was a martial artist with a full year of training and abundant experience, not a newcomer who had just stepped onto the martial path. What novice could reach the 1st tier, 3rd level in one day, and learn an extremely advanced martial technique at the same time? Even a 1st-tier technique required 3 or 4 months before a person slowly crossed the threshold, followed by years of refinement before reaching mastery. 3 or 4 months. Learning a technique was far harder than breaking through a cultivation level. My technique was clearly not low-level either. It transformed the power of my lightning talent into speed that propelled me forward, making it at least a 4th-tier martial technique. Anything below the 4th tier amounted to little more than ordinary punching and kicking. Wei Tian looked at me with a complicated gaze. My level of effort also far exceeded that of an ordinary person. Then he shouted. Next, I had only just reappeared from 3,000 lightning steps when I heard Wei Tian call for the next beast, without giving my exhaustion any time to ease. Another boar slowly entered the arena. Wait, I wasn't ready yet. I had not even opened the lucky bag I had just received. Besides, using 3,000 lightning steps explosively consumed an enormous amount of stamina. At most, I could use it twice more before I probably collapsed from exhaustion. Couldn't I have a moment to rest? With my attack power, no beast below the 1st tier, 7th level posed any real uncertainty. Even so, I raised my hand and called for the match to stop. Wait, I have a question. What question? With a flash, Wei Tian appeared beside the 1st tier, 5th level boar and pinned it with one hand. He waited patiently for me to speak. Can I challenge all the remaining beasts at the same time? I asked. My stamina was limited, so I wanted to use 3,000 lightning steps once and kill every remaining beast in a single attack. Using it to kill only one at a time consumed too much energy. I could not sustain that. The instant my words reached the stands, however, everyone lost their composure. His arrogance knows no bounds. He almost failed against that 1st tier, 4th level boar. How does he dare challenge every beast from the 5th through the 9th level at once? I admit Chu Feng's last move was extraordinary, but the vitality of a 1st tier, 9th level vicious beast is no joke. Even lightning probably can't kill one instantly. Otherwise, humanity wouldn't be threatened by vicious beasts so often. Unless Chu Feng can double the power of his lightning, defeating a 1st tier, 9th level beast is basically impossible. The discussion continued. Most people did not believe I could win, not because they hated me, but because vicious beasts truly were powerful. More importantly, I was a newcomer who had awakened less than a day ago. My combat experience was effectively zero. A lightning talent really is powerful, Paired with talent maximization, it would be invincible. Exactly, but everyone knows a martial artist can possess at most two talents. Chu Feng currently has one at most. If his talent is lightning, it can't also be talent maximization. Trying to cross 6 levels and kill a first-tier, 9th-level beast with lightning alone? I think he'll lose miserably. Losing once might be good for him. Flowers raised in a greenhouse never grow strong. Exactly. Every genius has to endure hardship. When my homeroom teacher, Yang Xiaolei, saw how fiercely ambitious I was, she pursed her lips but said nothing. She did not think much of my chances either. Facing 5 beasts simultaneously, each stronger than the berserk boar, placed me under far too much pressure. The difficulty was simply too high, yet perhaps I truly could do it. Beside her, Zheng Hao clenched his fists as he listened. Regardless of anything else, the courage to challenge 5 vicious beasts simultaneously was worthy of admiration. If I lost, the arena would become the site of 5 beasts mauling me at once. If I could kill them all in a single breath, then I did have a path to victory. But with 5 beasts attacking together, my margin for error would become infinitesimal. One mistake, and several powerful beasts would tear me apart. Are you certain? Unless your life is in danger, I will not step in to save you during a fight. Wei Tian questioned me, giving me a chance to reconsider. He also made the danger clear. The price of losing might be spending several days in bed. I'm certain. Bring them out. I did not hesitate. This was the only way to win the 10 million dragon coins. Challenging them one by one would drain my stamina and make me collapse on the verge of victory. I still wanted to use the money to buy the restaurant for my aunt. With that enormous sum, she would never need to work again. I also needed vast resources for my own cultivation. 3,000 lightning steps required spiritual power to display its full effects, so I needed a cultivation art that could produce it. Beyond that, I had already discovered the weakness in my offense. Other than 9 Heavens' divine thunder, I had almost no means of attacking. Simply blasting an opponent with the divine lightning could not unleash its complete power either. I needed a martial technique that worked in concert with it. My stamina was insufficient, and my cultivation level was too low. I needed enormous resources right now, so I had to do everything possible to win the coming battle. Very well. Wei Tian nodded and signaled the staff. 5 black boars were released, arranged from largest to smallest. Every one was bigger than the previous berserk boar. The largest stood nearly 13 feet tall. I had to tilt my head back just to see its eyes. All of these beasts belong to the berserk boar family. The strongest is a first-tier, 9th-level berserk boar king. Do you need time to prepare? An immense aura radiated from Wei Tian. He made no movement, yet none of the 5 boars dared act rashly. Even while standing still, the 13-foot berserk boar king exerted overwhelming pressure. Its mountain-like body brimmed with raw power. Its thick tusks were broad enough that 2 people together could barely encircle them. A single sweep would inflict a grave injury, or kill someone outright. Is this really something a beginner can handle? I can't believe Chu Feng still dares to take the challenge. He has real courage. Tusks that thick would shatter your whole body with the lightest touch, wouldn't they? It's almost 13 feet tall. I feel like even lightning couldn't affect it. Its hide is too thick. I can't imagine how anyone could kill it. Even Yang Xiaolei had no confidence that she could face so many vicious beasts, despite being a second-tier martial artist. She had not mastered any powerful offensive martial techniques, and her talent was a lifestyle talent. Although she stood an entire tier above them, she still could not defeat the 5 beasts in the arena. She might not even be able to defeat the strongest berserk boar king. Zheng Hao, who had awakened the B-rank dragon warrior talent, turned pale at the visually overwhelming sight of the beast. Zhang Kai stared fixedly at the arena. He admired me for truly daring to challenge so many beasts simultaneously. Courage that bordered on seeking life through certain death was enough to command anyone's respect. Inside the arena, I don't need to prepare. Start the fight. Lightning danced over my body as I readied 3,000 lightning steps. Wei Tian gradually withdrew his aura, and the 5 vicious beasts beside him began stirring restlessly. Battle. Begin. The moment Wei Tian gave the signal, all 5 boars snorted in unison. Led by the mighty berserk boar king, they charged me together, pounding the ground with such force that clouds of dust rose around them. The pressure of several colossal bodies charging as one was suffocating. 5 vicious beasts charging together have sealed off every possible escape route. How is anyone supposed to handle this? Even a second-tier martial artist with a combat talent would probably face a bitter struggle. Even if Chu Feng uses that last move again, he might not be able to kill all 5. It's too difficult. The highest record in the history of Nanjiang First High School is only defeating a first-tier, 7th-level beast. Watching the arena, Zheng Hao unconsciously imagined himself in my position. What would he do against a charge from 5 such powerful, vicious beasts? Could his B-rank Dragon Warrior talent even put up a fight? Could he counterkill even one beast? Could he make any effective counterattack at all? Facing all 5, I did not panic. Lightning spread from within my body and covered me completely in the blink of an eye. The deep blue, 9 heavens divine thunder transformed me into a streak of blue light. In the next instant, I vanished from the spot. Everyone heard a peal of thunder roll across the arena. As if heavenly lightning had descended, a bone-deep wound appeared on the head of each beast, blue arcs still dancing over the injuries. The wounds on 2 boars were so severe that their brains could almost be seen. The method was identical to the one I had used against the previous berserk boar. Using the extreme speed of 3,000 lightning steps, I carved a deep wound into every boar's head in an instant. 9 heavens divine thunder then traveled through the wounds and entered their skulls, striking their vital points directly. Several heavy crashes rang out as 2 of the boars collapsed. In the blink of an eye, the vicious beast formation had lost nearly 1/3 of its combat power. My attack was overwhelmingly strong. When the students saw the result, they cried out. That move is at least on the level of a second-tier martial artist. Those first-tier beasts can't even touch the hem of Chu Feng's clothes. I couldn't see Chu Feng at all. I only saw a streak of blue light, and then the beasts fell. Chu Feng's talent must let him transform into lightning and dramatically increase his speed. It is definitely S-rank. The effect is simply too outrageous. Those were 2 vicious beasts above the first tier, 4th level. The creature Zheng Hao couldn't defeat, even with everything he had, was nothing more than a foot soldier to Chu Feng. There was nothing anyone could do about it. The gap was too great. I was too powerful. Whether in cultivation or combat strength, I left others without even the desire to catch up. But Zheng Hao stared at the arena. I had killed only 2. 3 beasts remained, including the strongest, the Boar King. Victory was still a long way off. How could it be that easy? The defensive strength of a vicious beast was no empty boast. The remaining 3 boars were all above the first tier, 6th level. They staggered and came to a stop, but after swaying for a moment, they regained their mobility. Although my attack had injured them, it failed to break through the defense of their skulls. The pain instead provoked their ferocity. The Berserk Boar King in particular had blood-red eyes and radiated a terrifying, suffocating pressure. I reappeared, beads of sweat rolling down my forehead. 5 consecutive attacks had consumed too much 9 heavens divine thunder and far too much stamina. A boar's skull was truly hard. To penetrate its defenses, I had to expend vast quantities of divine lightning. Otherwise, even a steel dagger might not cut through. If I failed to break the skull, the 9 heavens divine thunder I injected would be far less effective. There was no helping it. A first-tier, 7th-level boar's skull was simply too hard. While moving at high speed, I had to break through its sturdy cranium and inject lightning into its brain at the same time. Completing so many complicated steps in an instant made mistakes easy, and one mistake would leave me facing the combined attack of 5 boars. At close range, they would show no mercy once they saw me. I had not mastered 3,000 lightning steps well enough to control it like an extension of my own body. Because of all these limitations, I could unleash only a limited amount of 9 heavens divine thunder. That was why I had failed to penetrate the skulls of the 3 strongest boars. I had inflicted only minor wounds, none of them fatal. Unfortunately, Tide of Life restored health, but not energy. Otherwise, I had very little stamina left. Once the 3 boars above the 6th level adapted to the lightning, they charged me again. Wei Tian prepared to intervene and save me at any moment. An attack from the Berserk Boar King was no joke. If it landed, I might die before I even understood how. Killing 2 beasts in one breath was already an excellent result. I had awakened only yesterday and trained for a single day. Losing here would be perfectly normal. Once I learned more combat methods and became proficient with movement arts or powerful offensive techniques, first-tier, 9th-level beasts would no longer be difficult opponents. My offensive power was unquestionably high. The Boar King's defense and vitality were simply extremely tenacious. Even ordinary humans sometimes survived lightning strikes. That was even more true for a giant Boar King with tremendous strength. I had not been wrong to avoid blasting it directly with lightning. Doing so consumed even more stamina, and the attack might not be effective. With enough stamina, I could certainly control the lightning and bombard it to death. when stamina was limited. However, breaking the skull at close range as I had done was the most efficient method. But if I could not break through its defense, there was nothing I could do. Unless the power of Nine Heavens Divine Thunder increased by another 100%, or I attacked again at high speed and successfully struck the same wounds I had just created, I had little chance of defeating the 3 remaining boars. Yet temporarily increasing the power of my lightning was clearly impossible. The only option I had was to attack the same spot repeatedly, using multiple strikes to force my way through the Boar King's skull. But that demanded extreme precision. The wound from my first attack was not large, while the Boar King's head was enormous. Accurately striking the exact same point on such a large target would be extraordinarily difficult. It placed harsh demands on any martial artist. Worse, I had very little stamina left. I probably had enough strength to use Nine Heavens Divine Thunder only once more. The students had all sucked in sharp breaths after watching me take down 2 boars in a single attack. But when they saw that the 3 strongest beasts were still largely unharmed, they could not help worrying again. It's over. It looks like Chu Feng's attacks can't break through the defenses of those 3 beasts. He obviously isn't skilled enough at using Nine Heavens Divine Thunder. If only he had mastered an offensive martial technique. We celebrated too soon. Chu Feng's head is covered in sweat. He must be running out of stamina. He's in danger. How can he deal with the 3 strongest boars when he has no stamina left? He might be able to maneuver around 1 boar, but 3 can surround him and force him into a corner. He'll have no choice but to lose. He's the one who challenged 5 beasts at once. Now he won't receive any of the rewards, will he? Chu Feng should have 1 final burst left. Unless he can deal twice as much lightning damage, defeat is the only outcome waiting for him. Double the lightning damage? That's ridiculous. Do you think Chu Feng has a system? Increasing the lightning's power by even 50% would be impressive. Doubling it is impossible, unless he also has talent maximization. Otherwise, there's no way. Inside the arena, the 3 vicious beasts above the first tier, 6th level, charged together. Every footfall made the ground tremble faintly. They advanced like tanks, their terrifying momentum enough to chill the blood. The tusks at their mouths looked capable of piercing mountains and shattering stone. As the 3 giant boars charged, the battle approached its conclusion. I drew a deep breath as the 3 mighty boars closed in. Feeling what little stamina remained, I knew I had only 1 chance left. If I failed to kill all 3 in a single breath, I would lose. 3,000 lightning steps was fast enough to let me attack their heads with ease. And I had talent maximization, which could strengthen my lightning. Because activating talents consumed stamina, I had conserved the active effect of talent maximization, which doubled my talent's power, for as long as possible. But now I had to use it. This was my final gamble. What I did not know was how thick the Boar King's skull truly was. If the doubled Nine Heavens Divine Thunder still failed to penetrate its defense, exhausting my stamina would mean total defeat. My only way to maximize my chance of victory was to overlap this attack perfectly with the last one. Yet the maneuver was extraordinarily difficult. The slightest mistake could make me miss the original wound, or even cause the Nine Heavens Divine Thunder itself to miss. I would not have been confident even at full strength. With my stamina depleted, the chance of making a mistake while attempting such a difficult maneuver was far too high. I also had to attack 3 beasts at once. My probability of failure was practically 100%. The main problem was that I had not used 3,000 lightning steps enough. Without long practice, I had not transformed its movements into muscle memory. I therefore had little confidence in that method. Talent maximization. Increase all talent effects by 100%. This time, before I even summoned the Divine Thunder, Blue Nine Heavens Divine Thunder naturally covered my entire body. Its deep blue arcs visibly thickened, and the destructive aura they carried was enough to terrify anyone. When Wei Tian saw the divine lightning surrounding me, his eyes widened. My Nine Heavens Divine Thunder had truly grown stronger. He could clearly see that the lightning around me now existed on a completely different level from before. Its power had plainly doubled. Wasn't doubling the effects of a talent the ability of talent maximization? If my talent had mutated, shouldn't my S-rank talent maximization have disappeared? Why did I still possess its effect? Could my talent have mutated only halfway, developing lightning while preserving talent maximization's ability to double its power? That was outrageous. If I had retained that effect, then my 1 lightning talent was equivalent to 2 talents in someone else's hands, or even 4. The lightning I summoned was also extraordinarily powerful, making it most likely S rank. Add the preserved effect of talent maximization, and at this very moment, Didn't I possess the strength of nearly 4 S-rank talents? Other people awakened an S-rank talent at best. I had effectively awakened a 4S rank talent. With 4 times the power, my talent was already invincible, surpassing even that of most 7th-tier martial artists. More importantly, my cultivation speed was astonishing. Breaking through levels was as easy as eating or drinking. Wei Tian had never seen such a powerful martial artist. Every one of my abilities was exceptional. I had also mastered a movement technique at least as powerful as a second-tier art. Most importantly, I had awakened only 1 day ago. Aside from lacking combat experience and a wider range of effective techniques, I was practically the perfect martial artist. One who could let everyone live and work in peace, enjoying happy lives. Following my plan, I streaked across the arena as a bolt of lightning once more. Moving faster than most people could see, I swept past the heads of all 3 first-tier vicious beasts in an instant. This time, I changed my strategy. I did not try to force my way through their skulls. Instead, I used the enhanced lightning to cut open their comparatively vulnerable, unprotected necks. The destructive 9 heavens divine thunder surged through those wounds and stabbed brutally into all 3 beasts' brains. My excessive expenditure of stamina made even the slightest movement difficult. In front of me, the 3 beasts above the first tier, 6th level had stopped. Their bodies twitched as they staggered in place. But I knew. They had already been dead for several moments, because system notifications appeared. You killed a vicious beast and were fortunate enough to receive a first-tier, 7th level lucky bag. You killed a vicious beast and were fortunate enough to receive a first-tier, 9th level lucky bag. 2 more lucky bags. In the stands, the students looked at me, soaked in sweat and utterly exhausted, then at the 3 mighty boars standing motionless before me. They began talking quietly. Why do those beasts look drunk? Don't tell me they're dead? Impossible. I don't see a wound on the boar king's head. That means Chu Feng never attacked its forehead. Exactly. If he didn't attack its head, how could he defeat the boar king in a single strike? He probably used lightning to paralyze it temporarily. If he had killed them, all 3 giant boars would have collapsed immediately. Right? Wei Tian hasn't announced Chu Feng's victory either. I had awakened only 1 day ago, yet I could already defeat a first-tier, 9th level beast. With strength like mine, Zhang Kai felt that he could walk anywhere in the future, casually mention that he was my classmate, and gain instant respect. In the arena, 9 heavens divine thunder had destroyed the brains of all 3 colossal beasts, but their bodies continued moving unconsciously. A moment later, they crashed to the ground and died. As the beasts fell, their necks twisted to one side, revealing hideous, bloody wounds. Great quantities of blood and even pale white brain matter poured out. That was the result of my attack on their necks. Their vulnerable flesh could not withstand an attack of double power. The students were shocked speechless by the gruesome deaths. He killed them? Why did it look as easy as eating or drinking? What an ingenious idea. He knew the beasts' skulls were hard, so he attacked their relatively vulnerable necks. Brilliant. His combat instincts are outrageous. He changed his approach in an instant and chose the simplest, most efficient method of attack. Chu Feng is extraordinarily sensitive to the flow of battle, a natural-born warrior. His speed is unbelievable. At that speed, an attack from any direction is almost impossible to defend against. No wonder the vicious beasts look like practice dummies in his hands. He's too powerful. If I didn't know Chu Feng awakened yesterday, I would believe you if you told me he was a 3rd-tier flesh-tempering martial artist. Chu Feng's overall strength has no weakness. I was wrong to question him. He is a genuine genius. His talent is powerful, his cultivation is fast, and his combat instincts are absurd. Before long, Nanjiang First High School is certain to produce a legendary top martial artist. My homeroom teacher, Yang Xiaolei, watched me kill 5 vicious beasts in 2 bursts, her expression complicated. Originally, she had believed in Zheng Hao, not me. But Zheng Hao and I did not exist on the same level. If we fought, a single one of me could casually slaughter hundreds or thousands of Zheng Haos. The difference in our strength could no longer be overcome by numbers. Yang Xiaolei admitted that she had misjudged me. In the future, if she encountered another martial artist with a talent similar to mine, she would have to pay close attention. Beside her, Zheng Hao slumped weakly in his seat. He had completely lost the desire to catch up. My strength was simply beyond anything he could compare with. A B-rank talent and an S-rank talent differed by only 2 grades, but the true gap between them was like the distance between clouds and mud. From now on, all I can do is look up to him. Zheng Hao sighed softly, without the slightest doubt in his eyes. He now fully acknowledged my strength. Zhang Kai sat with his fists clenched. Powerful. If his brother stood in limitless glory, then as my junior sidekick, he naturally shared in the honor. Inside the arena, Wei Tian drew a deep, sharp breath at the sight. My speed had just doubled, nearly reaching that of a martial artist above the second tier, 7th level, and one who had cultivated their technique to perfect mastery. Possessing such speed at the first tier, 3rd level meant my martial technique had to be extremely advanced. But the reason I could double my speed was not the technique itself. That was right. The power of my lightning had directly doubled for a short time. That had doubled my speed and attack power together. The beast's necks might merely appear sliced open, but inside, my 9 heavens divine thunder had blasted clean through their cervical bones. Previously, my attack could not penetrate the defenses of their skulls. Now I had severed their neck bones, proving my offensive power had increased enormously. By Wei Tian's estimate, the increase was exactly 100%. With such an enhancement, I could have broken through their skulls head-on. Instead, I chose the safer route of attacking their necks and killing them in a single move. I remained calm and cautious, demonstrating excellent qualities in battle. The moment I saw an opening, I denied my opponent any chance of survival. Even a lion used its full strength to hunt a rabbit. My talent could double the power of my lightning, and I possessed such outstanding combat qualities. My future achievements were bound to be extraordinary. Wei Tian hurriedly took out a vitality pill and fed it to me, helping restore my depleted stamina. When the power of your lightning doubled just now, was that the effect of talent maximization? I swallowed the vitality pill. My gaze flickered for a moment at Wei Tian's question, then returned to blank confusion. I don't know. I felt like I could use it that way, so I did. The effect seemed pretty good. I absolutely could not tell the truth. If anyone learned I possessed 3 S-rank talents, they might capture me and cut me apart for research. Whatever they asked, my answer would be that I did not know. Wei Tian considered my response for a moment, then slowly gave his conclusion. Your talent is extremely powerful. The lightning alone possesses S-rank destructive power. Combined with this ability of yours, which increases a talent's power by 100%, your mutated talent is equivalent to 2 S-rank talents. Calling it a double S-rank talent would not be an exaggeration. Wei Tian's voice was firm and resonant. As he explained his judgment to me, he made sure everyone could hear. In the stands, the students' eyes widened. Wait, 1 S-rank talent is equivalent to 2 S-rank talents. We just said he couldn't amplify the power of his lightning, and then he actually increased it by 100%. Isn't that a little outrageous? His talent mutated beyond reason. It retained the power of maximization while producing entirely new and terrifying lightning. The combination is practically invincible. As if that talent weren't enough, his cultivation speed is equally absurd. Chu Feng's talent also lets him teleport. I doubt any first-tier vicious beast can oppose him. Isn't that lightning transformation and teleportation ability a martial technique? While everyone argued without reaching a conclusion, Yang Xiaolei stepped forward as both a teacher and my homeroom instructor. With years of teaching experience, she could clearly distinguish between talents and martial techniques. The lightning I used to blast the beasts to death was my talent. The high-speed movement that followed, however, had to be a martial technique, a method of applying my talent. It could not be a talent itself. Chu Feng's method of transforming into lightning is an advanced martial technique, at least 4th tier. It has such a high utilization rate for his talent that it only appears to be part of that talent. At its core, it was still a martial technique. The moment she said this, every student stopped arguing. They remained silent for a full 15 minutes before faint discussion finally began again. So it's a martial technique, and an advanced one? He learned a 4th tier martial technique in one day? Quick, slap me twice and tell me I'm dreaming. Could Chu Feng have learned it in advance? In advance? How? Talent awakening is random. Could he have predicted what talent he would awaken? Exactly. Without an awakened talent, any attempt to study a martial technique would be a castle in the air, completely impractical. And ordinary people who haven't awakened cannot cultivate at all. The only possibility is that he learned the technique in one day. Otherwise, Chu Feng can't really be a senior in high school. In a single day, his talent had mutated into something equivalent to double S rank. His cultivation had reached the 1st tier, 3rd level, and he had casually mastered a martial technique above the 4th tier. The fastest breakthrough to the 1st tier, 1st level took 7 days. A 4th tier martial technique takes even longer. Without several years, no one should even cross the threshold. No matter how I think about it, Chu Feng is beyond the category of genius. Even someone with a system could hardly do more. Zhang Kai had merely misunderstood a few things, so there was no real problem. Inside the arena, the pill Wei Tian gave me restored most of my stamina. It should be time to distribute the rewards now, right? There was a third-tier body tempering art that would let me cultivate all the way to the third tier, 9th level without concern. It should also be compatible with 9 Heavens Divine Thunder, doubling my training results. It would be incomparably better than the basic body tempering art. The basic art did not cultivate quickly, offered no special effects, and could reach only the first tier, 9th level. It had too many shortcomings for long-term use. Besides the body tempering art, there was the crucial third-tier breathing method, which could accelerate stamina recovery. If I had possessed one just now, a mere boar king could never have survived against me. I could have bombarded it with 9 Heavens Divine Thunder from a distance, sustaining the attack for dozens of seconds. Given the power of my Divine Lightning, almost no vicious beast could endure it. I had chosen 3,000 lightning steps only because I lacked stamina. With enough stamina, I could use the movement art freely, and those beasts would never touch a single hair on my body. Finally, there were the 10 million dragon coins. With that money, I could first buy the restaurant that cost 500,000 for my aunt, eliminating the rent forever. Buying the property would also give us a home that truly belonged to us. If I casually set aside another 500,000, she probably would never need to work again. She could relax at home every day. Beyond that, I could purchase cultivation arts for myself from the Myriad Worlds marketplace. 3,000 lightning steps required spiritual power to reach its maximum strength, so I needed an art that could cultivate spiritual power and unleash the movement technique's full potential. I also needed offensive martial techniques, such as Palm Thunder or Thunderclap Palm, that could amplify 9 Heavens Divine Thunder. Simply bombarding an enemy with divine lightning consumed too much stamina and was far too inefficient. Mastering a powerful martial technique would not only increase the strength of 9 Heavens Divine Thunder, but dramatically improve the efficiency with which I used my stamina. It was essential. How will the rewards be distributed? Do I have to wait until every match is over? I'll take you to collect them. We can leave this place to Xiao Chun. I'll also introduce you to our principal. Once he learns about your talent, he'll treat you like his greatest treasure. When that happens, you can make a few reasonable requests. The principal most likely won't refuse. As he spoke, Wei Tian leaned close to my ear and whispered, "Between you and me, our school possesses a 4th-tier martial technique called the Thunderclap Finger. Its offensive power is extraordinary. Paired with your lightning-fast movement art, it can produce miraculous results. A 4th-tier martial technique costs tens of millions outside the school. Make sure you seize this opportunity." With that, he led me out of the arena. The remaining staff member, Xiao Chun, continued organizing the matches. When Wei Tian took me to the principal's office to collect my rewards, I quickly realized something was wrong with the atmosphere. Principal Chen Ming was worried about the 4-school tournament scheduled for the following day. Second High School had produced a 2nd-tier, 1st-level martial artist, while Jiang Hao, the strongest student at First High, had reached only the 1st-tier, 7th level. The 3 returning seniors in the office were clearly Chun Ming's final trump cards for the tournament. Jiang Hao later admitted that the soul of someone known as Elder Dan lived inside his body. At the time, the two of them were concealing their true strength, preparing to keep a low profile while competing for the Violet Firmament Divine Thunder that was about to appear outside Nanjiang City. Wei Tian and I knocked and entered. The office immediately fell silent. Chen Ming glanced at me. After sensing that I was only at the 1st-tier, 3rd level, he clearly assumed I was a returning student who had failed the college entrance exam and come to use personal connections. As long as you can pay the fees, First High welcomes every returning student. His attitude was clear. If I merely wanted to register, there was no reason to bother the principal. Wei Tian did not waste time. Chu Feng may be able to help you win 1st place in the 4-school tournament. Do you still welcome him? Chun Ming jerked his head up and inspected my cultivation again. On the surface, the gap between the 1st-tier, 3rd level, and the 2nd-tier, 1st level was nearly an entire major tier. The strength, speed, and defense of the bone forging stage far surpassed those of Copper Skin. An ordinary 1st-tier martial artist had no right to confront such an opponent head-on. Are you sure? Chen Ming pointed at me. What makes you think he can defeat 2nd High's bone forging student? Wei Tian did not explain immediately. He simply told the principal to prepare the rewards I was owed. My actual battle record was enough to overturn every judgment Chen Ming had just made. A 1st-tier, 3rd-level student can enter the 4-school tournament, but if anything goes wrong, You will be responsible. Chen Ming still did not believe I could oppose a second-tier martial artist. Wei Tian explained that our primary reason for coming to the office was not to enter the tournament, but to collect my placement exam rewards. Chu Feng killed 5 vicious beasts in succession, 3 of which were in the late first tier. He also broke the historical record by directly killing a first-tier, 9th-level beast. Wei Tian listed the rewards one by one: a third-tier body-tempering art, a breathing method, vitality pills, and 10 million dragon coins. Chen Ming froze. He finally realized I was not a returning senior who had cultivated for a year. I was a current senior who had awakened only the day before. He reached the first tier, 3rd level in one day, and killed a 9th-level beast. Chen Ming stared at Wei Tian. Are you sure he didn't use a secret art that damaged his foundations? Wei Tian had personally witnessed the battle and vouched for me directly. Chen Ming still wanted to see my strength in actual combat, so he turned toward Jiang Hao. Jiang Hao was at the first tier, 7th level, making him the strongest returning senior in the office. If Chu Feng can defeat Jiang Hao, I will not only issue every reward, but open the first high library and let him choose any martial technique he wants. I checked my stamina. After using 3,000 lightning steps repeatedly, I could unleash it only once more. My control was also insufficient, so I might accidentally injure Jiang Hao. There's no need to fight. Wasn't the placement exam monitored? Pull up the recording, and that will prove everything. Wei Tian immediately opened the computer and found the complete recording of my battles. Chen Ming, Jiang Hao, and the other 2 students gathered around the screen. The doubts ended there, because the first flash of lightning had already illuminated the recording. The office quickly fell silent once the battle replay began. In the video, I possessed only first-tier, 3rd-level cultivation, yet 3,000 lightning steps transformed me into a streak of lightning. The first-tier, 9th-level beast could not react in time. I evaded several consecutive attacks before striking its vital point. Chen Ming rewound the video repeatedly, confirming that both my speed and the process of the kill were genuine. Did you really awaken only yesterday? Wei Tian told him to check my student records. First High School had preserved my enrollment history for the past 2 years along with the record of my awakening. They could not have been fabricated overnight. Chen Ming sat at the computer and searched the files. My cultivation, age, and enrollment records all matched. That meant I truly had completed the breakthrough in a single day and mastered a movement technique far beyond an ordinary second-tier martial art. After watching the replay, Jiang Hao no longer demanded a sparring match. He later told me that Elder Dan believed 3,000 lightning steps was not an ordinary martial technique, but some kind of high-level inheritance. With Jiang Hao's strength at the time, he would not survive even one move against me. Chen Ming turned his attention to a different question. The lightning in the recording was at least A rank and possibly S rank, yet he had no memory of seeing it in my awakening record. The file finally opened. The talent registered there was not lightning. It was the S rank hidden talent maximization. Chen Ming stared at the screen, and his expression changed. If the file was correct, where had the 9 heavens divine thunder I used in battle come from? Chen Ming immediately pointed out the flaw he had discovered. My talent did not match the records. There was a problem. He knew he could not possibly have forgotten such a powerful lightning attribute talent. Chen Ming looked at me and waited for an explanation. Why doesn't your talent match the information in your file? Under Chen Ming's gaze, I had no idea how to answer. I could hardly tell him I had a system. At that moment, Wei Tian stepped forward to explain. Chu Feng's talent is the S-rank talent maximization, but it underwent a mutation. As he spoke, Wei Tian moved through the group and replayed the final section of the surveillance recording, where I killed 3 late first-tier vicious beasts in a single burst. Then he explained it himself. Chu Feng's talent mutated to an outrageous degree. Not only did it grant him terrifying lightning damage, it can directly double the power of that lightning. At first, Chu Feng couldn't even penetrate the beast's skulls. Later, he shattered their neck bones with a single attack. That clearly proves his offensive power underwent a qualitative transformation. The surveillance footage was not particularly clear, but with everyone's eyesight and Wei Tian guiding their attention, they could plainly see that the fallen beasts' heads were bent at unnatural angles, a clear sign that their necks had broken. Chen Ming's eyes widened as he stared at the recording. He snatched the mouse from Wei Tian's hand and examined the footage carefully from the beginning. Once he confirmed Wei Tian had not deceived him, he stood dazed. I had not only retained talent maximization's ability to double power, but forcibly mutated an entirely new lightning talent whose destructive strength rivaled an S-rank talent. If the power of an S-rank lightning talent doubled again, Wasn't that the same as possessing two S-rank talents at once? And two extraordinarily powerful S-rank talents at that. At last, Chen Ming waved to the three returning seniors. Go back to class for now. If I need anything, I'll contact your teachers. Jiang Hao and the other two exchanged helpless looks. There was no longer any benefit for them to seek from Principal Chen. From this point on, enormous resources would surely be concentrated on me, turning me into an invincible dark horse in the coming four-school tournament. The three students left the principal's office together, but before they reached the door, they heard Principal Chen speak in an extraordinarily warm voice. Here are 10 million dragon coins, your reward for defeating the vicious beasts. Take them. And here is a storage ring containing plenty of vitality pills and bone-forging pills. Use as many as you need. You haven't studied a breathing method yet, have you? Come with me. The school library contains far more cultivation arts than you imagine. We have at least several dozen lightning attribute body tempering arts, along with a fourth-tier lightning martial technique called the thunderclap finger. As if that were not enough, I could take as many pills as I wanted, and he handed over 10 million dragon coins without hesitation. Jiang Hao later told me that Elder Dan had mentioned the Blood Fiend sect, one of the three great demonic sects in the central region. It used Blood Fiend pills to control its disciples, a hold that even 9th-tier golden body martial artists struggled to escape. That information made me remember the Blood Fiend sect. It also made me understand that Jiang Hao was still concealing both Elder Dan and his true strength. In the Nanjiang First High School library, I entered a fully equipped training room. The library contained not only numerous cultivation arts, but row after row of rooms supplied with everything needed for training. After borrowing a cultivation art, a student could enter a room and practice immediately, making the arrangement extremely convenient. Inside one such room, I sat cross-legged in silence and studied the third-tier thunderous breathing method in my hands. Thunderous breathing could restore a large amount of stamina in an instant, making it ideally suited to an explosive movement art like 3,000 lightning steps. Its weakness was the enormous burden repeated use placed on the body. It was best to take one breath at intervals and pair it with 3,000 lightning steps to kill an enemy. In addition to the breathing method, I received large quantities of high-quality vitality pills and body-refining pills. Vitality pills worked much like vicious beast meat, restoring a martial artist's vitality and blood energy while aiding cultivation. Body-refining pills accelerated body tempering. A dark iron ring rested on my left hand. It was a storage ring worth at least 1 million dragon coins, with roughly 3 cubic meters of internal space. All the pills were stored inside. The ring also contained a bank card loaded with 10 million dragon coins, the fourth-tier thunderclap finger technique, and the third-tier heavenly thunder body tempering art. These were the best cultivation arts Nanjiang First High School possessed that suited me. It was only a high school, after all. It had no truly advanced manuals. Fourth-tier arts were already its finest, and most were incompatible with my talent. If I wanted anything more advanced, I would have to attend a higher-level institution. I leafed through the thunderous breathing method. Although it was a third-tier cultivation art, the inherited memories of 3,000 lightning steps had raised my understanding of cultivation methods to an entirely new level. An art of this tier was not difficult for me. After reading it once, I understood its underlying principles. Following the instructions, I silently recited the mnemonic chant and guided 9 heavens' divine thunder along the prescribed paths through the meridians of my body. With every breath, wind and thunder seemed to roar. Great quantities of air passed through my lungs, carrying a vast and unusual energy that soothed my exhaustion. After only one breath, more than half my energy returned. The effect on stamina was obvious. I examined the state of my body, extremely satisfied with thunderous breathing. If I had mastered this breathing method earlier, I felt I could have used 3,000 lightning steps at least twice more while facing those 5 beasts. They would have had no power to fight back whatsoever. I had only just crossed the threshold of this breathing method. Once I practiced continuously and cultivated thunderous breathing to perfect mastery, I would probably be able to use 3,000 lightning steps without interruption. At that point, I would become living lightning, impossible for the naked eye to follow. I maintained the rhythm of my breathing and continued practicing, then took out the third-tier heavenly thunder body tempering art. This art used lightning to temper the body. The stronger the lightning, the better the results. 9 heavens divine thunder was an S-rank talent, and therefore nearly supreme in quality. Paired with the heavenly thunder body tempering art, my cultivation speed should be more than twice as fast as yesterday. Following the manual, I guided 9 heavens divine thunder to stimulate the major acupoints throughout my body and began the initial refinement of my flesh. I seized the opportunity to swallow several body-refining pills and vitality pills, then raised the power of 9 heavens divine thunder to its maximum. Stimulated by the divine lightning, the pills rapidly dissolved and merged into my body, helping increase its strength. My power began rising quickly. 9 heavens divine thunder split the skin across my body, and my S-rank tide of life healed it just as rapidly. The heavenly thunder body tempering art cultivated quickly, but the degree of damage it inflicted was far beyond that caused by an ordinary body tempering method. Fortunately, I possessed the S-rank tide of life. Otherwise, merely healing my injuries would waste a great deal of time and consume vast additional resources. Using my talent required only vitality and blood energy, making it exceptionally fast and convenient. As the divine thunder tempered my body, the silver luster on my skin gradually brightened until it completely covered the bronze beneath it. I slowly exhaled a breath of turbid air and clenched my right fist. Excellent. My strength had risen by nearly 50%. If I encountered that first-tier, fourth-level berserk boar again, I was confident I could defeat it head-on without using any talent. My higher cultivation also increased the power of 9 heavens divine thunder, including the power of 3,000 lightning steps. My speed had risen. Before, I could travel 100 meters in an instant. Now, I estimated I could cover 120. My attack power had increased significantly as well. If I faced the first-tier, 7th-level boar king from the arena again, I was confident I could break through its solid skull with one frontal strike. I drew a deep breath, swallowed great handfuls of body-refining and vitality pills, then unleashed 9 heavens divine thunder at full power to push my cultivation as high as possible. I stood only one step away from the first-tier, 7th-level Jade Skin stage. The speed and attack power of 3,000 lightning steps had increased accordingly. Excellent. With an unlimited supply of pills and a perfectly compatible art, my cultivation was soaring. My body needed time to adapt to its new strength. Forcing another breakthrough would make my foundations unstable and my power hollow, causing more harm than good. I put away the heavenly thunder body tempering art and finally took out the 4th-tier thunderclap finger. This technique could use lightning to inflict tremendous damage. Its power was exceptionally high. Although its range was extremely short, the speed provided by 3,000 lightning steps compensated perfectly. I studied the 4th-tier martial technique. Following its instructions, I concentrated lightning power over my fingers and supported it with vitality and blood energy. Immense force gathered within my pressed-together index and middle fingers, making them swell uncomfortably. I urgently needed to release the energy. Walking to the machine, I aimed at the center of its target and thrust my fingers forward. Terrifying power erupted without restraint. The numbers on the machine's screen climbed rapidly before settling at 3,110 Gene, the level of a second-tier, 4th-level martial artist. I stared at the attack power I had produced and drew a deep breath. Never mind the 3,000 Gene. The label's second-tier, 4th level, meant my strike could penetrate the defenses of a martial artist at that level. I was only at the first-tier, 6th level. Earlier, even my strongest attack had failed to break through the skull of a first-tier, 9th-level vicious beast. Now, after learning only the barest beginnings of Thunderclap Finger, I could pierce the defenses of a second-tier, 4th-level martial artist. That was enough to prove the technique's power. More importantly, I had only just crossed the threshold, yet it already produced 4th-level strength. If I cultivated it to perfect mastery, wouldn't I be able to cross tiers and kill a 3rd-tier martial artist directly? And if I added talent maximization, my attack power would double again. I decided to test the full strength of my attack so I could understand my abilities comprehensively. Without much hesitation, talent maximization. Lightning blazed as the power of 9 heavens divine thunder doubled on the spot. I activated Thunderclap Finger again and thrust violently into the machine's target. Every section of its screen lit up, but no number appeared. I studied the machine for a moment and discovered that it could test only attacks below the second-tier, 7th level. Anything at or above that level exceeded its capacity. The machine was intended for current and returning seniors. Even the strongest of them, Jiang Hao, possessed only first-tier, 7th level cultivation. A second-tier, 1st-level bone forging martial artist was already an extraordinary rarity in high school, appearing perhaps once in dozens of graduating classes. A testing limit of the second-tier, 7th level was therefore more than sufficient. Who could have expected me to be so outrageous that one thrust exceeded that limit and broke the machine? Even I had not anticipated it. This probably isn't too expensive, right? After thinking for a moment, I opened my phone and contacted the principal to ask about the machine. I had not been paying attention. My attack power was simply too high, and one small accident had. I called Chun Ming from inside the training room. Principal, I accidentally broke the strength testing machine. Whatever it costs, I'll reimburse the school in full. At first, Chun Ming paid little attention and merely told me to use another training room. Wei Tian, however, reminded him that the school's machines could withstand any attack below the second tier, 7th level. The other end of the call immediately fell silent. Several minutes later, Chun Ming and Wei Tian arrived at the training room. They examined the machine first, confirming that 2 fingers had left an indentation in the center of the target. Scorched marks from lightning surrounded it. An ordinary first-tier martial artist could never cause such damage. Even someone in the early second tier would struggle to push the entire machine beyond its measuring range. What martial technique did you use? Chun Ming asked. I raised my index and middle fingers, pressed together. The 4th-tier thunderclap finger, combined with 9 heavens divine thunder and talent maximization. Chun Ming asked me to demonstrate again. I compressed the lightning at my fingertips but did not attack the machine, allowing them only to sense the concentrated force. At that moment, he also noticed that the color of my skin had changed. When I left the office, I had been at the 1st tier, 3rd level. Now silver completely covered the bronze, and a faint trace of pale green had even appeared within it. I had not only learned thunderous breathing, the heavenly thunder body tempering art, and thunderclap finger, my cultivation had also broken through to the 1st tier, 6th level. Chun Ming stared at my neck without speaking for a long time. The machine was no longer what truly shocked him. It was everything I had accomplished in less than an hour. Learning the 4th-tier thunderclap finger was one thing, but I had also broken through to the 1st tier, 6th level. Hadn't I been only at the 3rd level when I left the office? I had broken through 3 levels as though it were nothing. Chun Ming became almost incoherent. At this rate, wouldn't I reach the 2nd tier, 3rd level by tomorrow? It was not as though Chun Ming had never encountered an S-rank talent. After serving as a principal for so many years, he had seen students with all kinds of gifts. But this was his first time seeing anyone cultivate as quickly as I did. At that moment, Wei Tian rushed in and went straight to the strength testing machine to examine my result. Just as I expected, Chu Feng learned such an advanced movement technique. A mere 4th-tier thunderclap finger could never trouble him. Crossing the threshold of a 4th-tier martial technique in one afternoon, such speed surpassed that of the vast majority of martial artists. Even Wei Tian himself could not learn a 4th-tier technique so quickly. My talent was beyond question. Compared with martial techniques, however, cultivation level was clearly even more important. A high-level martial artist could crush a low-level one with ease. As a martial artist's cultivation rose, their comprehension of the martial path naturally deepened. They would learn techniques even faster. I had only just begun the martial path, so it was natural for me not to understand common knowledge about cultivation levels. Adopting the posture of a senior, Wei Tian turned to explain it to me. But the first thing he saw was the horror on the principal's face. While wondering what was wrong, he noticed the pale green tint within the silver-white luster of my skin. Was this the late silver skin stage? I stood only one step away from jade skin. Wei Tian's eyes went wide. He rushed to my side and stared at me in minute detail. He had heard that I cultivated quickly, but without seeing it himself, the claim had never felt real. Now that he witnessed it with his own eyes, I overturned his understanding of cultivation completely. It was outrageous beyond belief. He studied my skin closely, trying to find some evidence of fraud. No matter how carefully he observed, however, every sign proved that my cultivation was as real as it could possibly be. I genuinely stood in the silver skin stage. Wei Tian worked out that I had probably stopped martial cultivation and switched to practicing techniques because I had broken through too quickly. Martial cultivation tempered the body and inevitably damaged it. I had deliberately slowed my training to maintain peak physical condition and avoid planting any hidden danger along my martial path. Such judgment, such talent. Even the 3 strongest humans alive could hardly surpass me, could they? Faced with a genius of my level, Wei Tian no longer knew what to say. As long as I did not die young, reaching the 7th tier was practically inevitable. Perhaps one day, I would annihilate every vicious beast and allow humanity to unite the entire blue planet. Chun Ming patted my shoulder, trying to keep his voice calm. Whatever difficulty you encounter in the future, you can come to me. Wei Tian immediately tried to outdo him. Me? I'm a 6th-tier Marrow Foundation martial artist. I can be far more useful than Wei Tian, who is only at the 5th-tier organ opening stage. Just then, Wei Tian noticed the rhythm of my breathing beneath his hand. As my chest rose and fell, a faint roar like distant thunder sounded from within. Could this be thunderous breathing? It had not even been an hour, yet I had learned all 3 cultivation arts I had just received. This was too outrageous. The speed at which I advanced along the martial path was faster than traveling by airplane. At tomorrow's 4-school tournament, I was certain to display terrifying strength and crush second high school's 2nd-tier bone forging martial artist while fighting above my level. But I had not yet grown powerful. If my monstrous talent attracted the attention of the demonic path, I might spend the rest of my life in endless suffering. Wei Tian and Chun Ming were not exceptionally strong. Neither had even reached the 7th tier or awakened a second talent. If a demonic faction set its sights on me, they might be powerless to help. Chu Feng, perhaps you shouldn't participate in tomorrow's 4-school tournament. As far as I know, certain demonic martial artists love capturing monstrously talented beginners and forcing them to become disciples. Once someone joins the demonic path, they use special methods to control that person, leaving them unable to escape for the rest of their life. That made sense. I was only at the 1st tier, 6th level. If I displayed heaven-defying aptitude by defeating a 2nd-tier, 1st-level bone forging martial artist in full view of the public, I could easily become famous and be forced into everyone's sight. My current strength was still extremely weak, so if possible, I should protect my safety. But the principal had said the rewards for the 4-school tournament were generous. I had already learned every cultivation art in my possession, and I believed it would not take long to master them completely. At that point, I would need more and better cultivation arts and martial techniques. If possible, I still wanted to participate and secure as much benefit for myself as I could. Didn't the principal say top universities would send representatives to recruit students? Top universities carry considerable weight in the Dragon Nation. They would be excellent shelters, and they possess more advanced cultivation arts for me to study. That is why I will enter tomorrow's 4-school tournament and pave the road for my future as thoroughly as possible. My gaze was resolute. Caution was sensible, but excessive caution would be equally harmful. I needed cultivation resources, pills, dragon coins, cultivation arts, and more. Strength was the true foundation. If I raised my power quickly enough, who would still dare threaten me? But I can't charge in recklessly either. When the time comes, I'll present myself as a 1st-tier, 9th-level martial artist who only barely defeats an opponent at the 2nd-tier, 1st level. That shouldn't make me look like too much of a genius, right? I'll simply put on a small performance during the fight. Of course, I'll need your help concealing my identity. Pretend I'm a returning senior. Otherwise, even a basic investigation will expose all the details of my talent. Chun Ming nodded first. He was naturally willing to help a genius with limitless potential like me. Besides, he was counting on me to win tomorrow's 4-school tournament. No problem. The group discussed the next day's arrangements for a while longer. In the end, they left me alone in the training room to continue cultivating. I still had several lucky bags to open, along with 10 million dragon coins I could use to buy cultivation arts and resources from the Myriad World's marketplace. To draw out the full power of 3,000 lightning steps, I needed to cultivate spiritual power. Body tempering arts did not increase spiritual power, so I still required another kind of cultivation method capable of producing it. I had 3 lucky bags in total, 1 each from beasts at the 1st tier's 4th, 7th, and 9th levels. The previous 1st tier, 1st level bag had contained the incomplete inheritance of 3,000 lightning steps, raising my combat ability to an entirely new level. With that technique alone, I was now confident I could fight most 2nd-tier martial artists. 3,000 lightning steps had also helped me defeat a 1st-tier, 9th-level vicious beast, making it exceptionally useful. That proved just how valuable lucky bag rewards could be. Of course, the Myriad World's marketplace said the rewards were random. I might simply have been lucky enough to open a beginner's gift pack. According to the rules, higher-level bags generally produced better rewards, but a low-level bag could still contain something excellent, while a high-level bag could still contain trash. All 3 of my bags were 1st tier, so none was truly exceptional. Still, the best had reached the 9th level. As I considered them, I opened all 3 in succession inside my system space. Opening 1st tier, 4th level lucky bag. Congratulations. You have obtained the Qi Cultivation Art, Lightning Control Art. Lightning Control Art cultivates lightning attribute spiritual power and greatly increases the power of your lightning attacks. Foundational art for the Violet Firmament Lightning Control Cannon. Exceptionally suitable for establishing a cultivator's foundations. Opening first tier, 7th level lucky bag. Congratulations! You have obtained 10 low-grade spirit stones. Low-grade spirit stone, a stone containing spiritual power. Cultivators can absorb its spiritual energy to increase their strength. Spiritual power, a special and mighty form of energy. Opening first tier, 9th level lucky bag. Congratulations! You have obtained the Chi cultivation spell, Art of Truth and Illusion. Art of Truth and Illusion consumes spiritual power to alter the user's aura, making it appear stronger or weaker. Excellent. I looked at the 3 rewards and felt satisfied with every one. The lightning control art could cultivate spiritual power, making it a perfect match for 3,000 lightning steps and allowing me to draw out the movement art's complete speed. Better yet, it increased the power of lightning attacks and was extraordinarily compatible with 9 Heavens Divine Thunder. Then there were the spirit stones, which were probably used to accelerate cultivation. Like pills, they should be essential resources. I found low-grade spirit stones in the Myriad Worlds marketplace. One cost 1,000,000 dragon coins. That made the lucky bag extraordinarily valuable. Last came the Art of Truth and Illusion. Its description alone told me how useful it was. It could conceal my cultivation and allow me to catch an enemy off guard at a crucial moment. It could also strengthen my aura, making others mistake me for an expert and letting me intimidate them with borrowed authority. With the Art of Truth and Illusion, could I project the aura of a second-tier, 3rd-level bone forging martial artist during tomorrow's 4-school tournament and force my opponent to retreat? If I displayed that aura, then instantly killed second-high second-tier, 1st-level student, wouldn't the outcome seem perfectly reasonable? I could not set the false cultivation too high. The second-tier, 3rd level would not make me appear excessively talented. If the disguise failed, my talents would still be exposed, so I needed to raise my real cultivation quickly. But if I fooled everyone, the Art of Truth and Illusion would be incredibly powerful and useful. Whether for a surprise attack or crushing an opponent with overwhelming presence, it could do both. Most importantly, I felt I might even deceive the principal and the others. The Art of Truth and Illusion was a spell powered by spiritual energy, belonging to a cultivation system entirely different from modern martial arts. If I mastered it, and spiritual power did not interact with martial cultivation, I would most likely escape detection. My immediate priority was cultivating spiritual power. Both the Art of Truth and Illusion and 3,000 lightning steps required it. The lightning control art was extraordinarily complex and difficult to understand. I read it one character at a time and gradually learned about the Chi cultivation system. Its stages were Chi refining, foundation establishment, golden core, nascent soul, soul transformation, void return, integration, tribulation transcendence, and great ascension. At the end, a cultivator ascended to the immortal realm and enjoyed longevity without decline. Immortality. How many martial artists pursued it for their entire lives? Even a 9th-tier golden body martial artist lived only 300 or 400 years. Years of battle shortened that lifespan further. Once a person's time arrived, even an indestructible body had to depart this world obediently. A golden body martial artist would still die of old age. With suitable methods, the undying body they left behind could be preserved for tens of thousands of years. But once the person was dead, what use was the body? Immortality remained an age-old problem that plagued all humanity. Yet the lightning control art stated plainly that its system could grant eternal life, meaning the heights of Chi cultivation far exceeded those of the existing martial system. My gaze flickered. This system of mine truly seemed remarkable. It had brought me an entirely different path of cultivation. After a short rest, I continued studying. As my understanding deepened, I discovered that Chi cultivators could use spells to fly. Once someone formed a golden core, they could stand in midair under their own power and cross more than 10,000 meters in the blink of an eye. I had read in textbooks that only 7th-tier blood mobilization martial artists could fly in the modern world. Could the 7th-tier blood mobilization stage through the 9th-tier golden body stage correspond to the early, middle, and late golden core stages? The only way to learn the true nature of the lightning control art was to practice it myself. Following the manual, I tried to sense the spiritual energy around me, guide it into the dantian within my body, and open a sea of Chi. I closed my eyes and carefully perceived the surrounding environment according to the mnemonic chant. The spiritual energy around me was so sparse it resembled a dry riverbed, almost non-existent. Is my aptitude poor, Or does this world simply have almost no spiritual energy? I suspected the latter. Qi cultivation was so powerful that if spiritual energy were abundant, countless people would already have become immortals. With energy this thin, I could not draw qi into my body at all. Fortunately, I had another method. I silently took out a low-grade spirit stone. It might be worth 1 million dragon coins, but this was exactly the moment to use it. A thread of spiritual energy emerged from the spirit stone and flowed into my dantian, successfully opening my sea of qi. Faint spiritual power nourished my body, filling me with strength. My hearing sharpened, and even my vision became clearer. Spiritual power seemed to strengthen the body naturally. I immersed myself in cultivation and began drawing frantically from the spirit stone. Every strand of spiritual energy that entered improved my constitution in a special way. The transformation proceeded from the inside out. My flesh, bones, and meridians began emitting a faint, glossy radiance. A small amount of black, foul-smelling liquid seeped through my skin. Spiritual power cleansed the tendons and marrow, improving my martial aptitude again while dramatically strengthening my already powerful body. The body that had felt slightly hollow after repeated tempering became firm and solid. I could tell that I was in excellent condition and ready to raise my martial cultivation aggressively again. When the last spirit stone was exhausted, my aura surged, and my cultivation successfully broke through to the second level of qi refining. Although I stood only at the second level, my physical strength now felt equivalent to that of 2 silver-skinned martial artists. In other words, qi refining's enhancement had become equal to the physical strength provided by silver skin itself. Even without talent maximization, I could now use the 4th-tier thunderclap finger, which I had only just begun learning, to break the strength testing machine in the training room with one strike. Supported by my qi cultivation, my strength was twice that of a normal silver-skinned martial artist. If I added talent maximization, I was even confident that I could penetrate the defenses of a 3rd-tier flesh-tempering martial artist. Most importantly, that was only my physical strength. The spiritual power in my dantian had many additional uses, such as casting powerful spells, fireball, ice spike, lightning strike, and more. Of course, the most important application was 3,000 lightning steps. I turned toward the window. Without my noticing, dusk had arrived. It was time to go home. Looking toward the school gates, I could see many students leaving. I had wanted to test 3,000 lightning steps and use it to travel home directly, but there were too many people. It would draw far too much attention. Tomorrow would be better. During the tournament, I could test its power without restraint. I already understood the basic structure of the 4-school tournament. Vicious beasts remained humanity's true enemy, so most competitions centered on killing them. Each of Nanjiang's 4 high schools selected 3 students for the tournament in the Nanjiang Great Forest. Whoever killed the greatest number of the strongest beasts won. Competitors could also defeat students from other schools and seize their points. With second high producing a 2nd-tier bone forging martial artist, while the other schools lacked anyone capable of opposing him. The entire competition would become a game of cat and mouse, with victory falling overwhelmingly to one side. A 2nd-tier bone forging martial artist was far stronger than someone in the 1st-tier skin refinement stage. Their strength, defense, and attack existed on completely different levels. Second highest champion also had teammates. Unless the other 3 schools united, they had no chance of victory. But such an alliance was impossible. Everyone wanted first place, the opportunity to promote their school, and an offer from the special admissions instructors. The 3 schools could never cooperate wholeheartedly. That meant second high had effectively reserved first place in advance. But killing vicious beasts was my specialty. With the speed of 3,000 lightning steps and the offensive power of Thunderclap Finger, I could probably kill even a 2nd-tier, 7th-level beast instantly. I would slaughter them at incredible speed. Killing vicious beasts also had a chance of producing lucky bags. The more I killed, the more benefits and rewards I received. I had no reason to reject such a wonderful opportunity. The contents of the bags had been excellent so far, and most rewards were extremely useful. Spirit stones in particular. I could never have too many. I had already consumed all 10 from my previous reward merely to reach the 2nd level of qi refining. Reaching the 9th level, or even foundation establishment would require an enormous number. One low-grade spirit stone cost 1,000,000 dragon coins. I had only 10 million, enough to buy 10 stones, which would probably carry me only to the 3rd level of qi refining. There was no helping it. The spiritual energy in this world's air was too thin. Relying on ambient energy alone, Even reaching the third level would require several years of accumulation. My first priority was to buy the restaurant for my aunt, then see what other household expenses needed support. After that, I could buy spirit stones from the Myriad Worlds marketplace. I still had not practiced the art of truth and illusion either. Night was approaching. I needed to return early so my aunt would not worry. I could practice the spell at home just as easily. On the way, I contacted the landlord who rented the building to my aunt and spent 500,000 dragon coins to buy the entire property. I transferred another 500,000 to the bank card she had given me, the one that originally contained 30,000. I planned to spend the remaining 9 million on spirit stones and raise my cultivation as much as possible before tomorrow's tournament. Only after buying the building and completing those arrangements did I return home. When I opened the door, my aunt had already prepared a lavish dinner. She was still bustling around, cleaning while she waited for me. "Auntie, I'm home." Han Shue's eyes brightened at my voice. She set down her work and called me to eat. But there was very little vicious beast meat in the dishes. She felt that she lacked the ability to provide even one proper meal for her nephew. At that moment, I noticed the unnatural expression on her face. I sat beside Han Shui and handed her the bank card she had given me. "Are you facing some kind of difficulty, Auntie?" When Han Shui saw the card, she hurriedly pushed it back. This was cultivation money she had given me. How could she possibly take it back? 30,000 dragon coins isn't enough, after all. But you don't need to worry, Xiao Feng. I've already arranged your cultivation. People from the military will come for you tomorrow. Training in the Dragon Nation's armed forces is a little harsh, but your cultivation resources will be guaranteed. At the very least, you'll receive all the vicious beast meat you can eat. With your talent and sufficient cultivation resources, you're sure to achieve great things in the future. What? I was confused. There was no need. I was already strong enough that earning cultivation resources would not be difficult. More importantly, the Dragon Nation's military was strictly controlled. Once I entered, I would have almost no freedom. "Auntie, I'm grown up now. I can earn money for myself. There are 530,000 dragon coins on this card. Keep it. All you need to do is buy groceries and cook meals." As I spoke, I placed the remaining pieces of vicious beast meat in Han Shue's bowl. "I also bought this restaurant, so you don't need to worry about where we'll live. I'm not joining the military. Their rules are too strict. Once I went in, I might not even get to see you regularly." How could I have earned more than 1 million dragon coins in one day? It was not that Han Shui wanted to doubt me. The claim was simply too outrageous. "Xiao Feng, stop teasing your aunt. Making money isn't that easy. Even the most profitable vicious beast hunter at the first-tier skin refinement stage can't earn 1 million dragon coins in a day. A pound of first-tier vicious beast meat sold for only a few hundred dragon coins. Earning 1 million would require 10,000 pounds of it, and an ordinary domesticated boar weighed only a little over 100 pounds. Unless I killed an enormous vicious beast, but the larger the beast, the stronger its combat power and the greater the danger. I had awakened only yesterday. Could I possibly have defeated a first-tier, 9th-level beast? Still, even if I was lying, it was a well-intentioned lie born from concern for her. She did not refuse again and silently accepted her bank card. "Let's eat." She did not investigate any further. Xiao Feng was a boy, after all. How awkward would it be if she checked the balance in front of him and discovered the numbers did not match? She would see whether she could gather more money herself. Martial training truly was expensive. Vitality pills and body-tempering pills alone cost tens of thousands each. Better vicious beast meat sold for tens of thousands per pound. Then there were cultivation arts, which routinely cost hundreds of thousands or millions. Many martial artists also prepared medicinal baths to accelerate physical recovery and increase cultivation speed. A single set of herbs started at 10,000 dragon coins. Without sufficient money, the martial path became harder with every step. "All right, let's eat." Seeing my aunt accept the card meant I had achieved my goal. I happily ate the food in my bowl. We chatted about everyday matters, and after dinner, each of us returned to our own work. I washed the dishes, took a shower, cleaned every trace of filth from my body, and returned to my room. I exchanged for 9 spirit stones and resumed cultivating, aiming to break through to the 3rd level of Qi refining and raise my martial cultivation to the first tier, 9th level. I would also try to master the art of truth and illusion. It should be extremely useful during tomorrow's tournament. Han Shui picked up her phone to see whether she could borrow money from relatives to support my cultivation. The moment she opened it, she saw a long series of messages and documents from Sun Qi, the landlord. The general meaning was that the building had been sold to her. She needed to prepare the transfer paperwork, register the property, and complete the final steps. Han Shui was dumbfounded. When had she bought the building? It might stand in a somewhat remote neighborhood, but it was worth 500,000 dragon coins. How could she afford that? After asking several questions, she learned that I had paid the entire price for her. Did that mean I truly had earned more than 500,000? No, more than 500,000. If Xiao Feng had bought the building, didn't that mean another 500,000 still remained on her bank card? Together, that was a full million dragon coins. Xiao Feng truly had earned 1 million in a single day. Han Shui was deeply moved. Sister, brother-in-law, can you see this? Xiao Feng has made something of himself. She would save the extra money for my future bride price. If any emergency arose, she could also use it immediately. I sat cross-legged on my bed with my eyes closed, a glossy stone in my palm. I recited the mnemonic chant of the lightning control art and absorbed the spiritual energy inside it. 8 dull stones lay scattered before me. The one in my hand was the last. My cultivation art circulated through my body and slowly absorbed every remaining trace of energy. A sharp aura flashed across my entire body. Using 9 spirit stones, I successfully broke through to the 3rd level of Qi refining. What a shame. I was almost at the 4th level. I had no spirit stones left. If I reached the 4th level, my physical body alone should become comparable to that of a bone-forging martial artist. I still needed to find a way to earn more money. After thinking about it, vicious beast hunting seemed like a good profession. A single beast was worth at least several 100,000 dragon coins. A first-tier, 9th level boar like the one I had fought during the day had to weigh several tons. 1 ton was 1,000 kilograms, or 2,000 jing. I could earn hundreds of thousands, or even 1 million from one beast. Kill several, and wouldn't the money come naturally? After considering the idea for a moment, I set it aside. There was no hurry. First, I needed to win tomorrow's four-school tournament, which supposedly offered generous rewards. The principal had given me 10 million dragon coins in cash today. If I took first place in the tournament, could Principal Chen possibly be stingy? There would also be many university special admissions instructors present. Principal Chen said that if I performed well, I could spark a fierce bidding war and earn an enormous sum. Put simply, as long as I fought well in the tournament, profit was guaranteed. I pushed those thoughts aside and took out the art of truth and illusion. This spell could alter my aura, making me appear either strong or weak. In tomorrow's tournament, it would be useful whether I used it to intimidate vicious beasts or launch a surprise attack against an opponent. While practicing the spell, I swallowed vitality pills and continued tempering my body. Cultivation level was the only true protection. Breaking through to higher tiers as quickly as possible was the most effective way to earn abundant resources. I cultivated through the night. At midnight, the daily deal in the Myriad Worlds marketplace refreshed. Today's deal, edgeless soft armor. Second-tier equipment capable of resisting most attacks from second-tier martial artists. Explosive sale price, 9.9 dragon coins. I bought it without hesitation. With this equipment, defense was no longer a problem. I put this silver-gray soft armor on beneath my clothes and felt completely confident about tomorrow's tournament. I then immersed myself in cultivation again, determined to consume all the pills and raise my strength to its peak. After finishing every pill the principal had given me, my martial cultivation reached the first tier, 9th level. Only one step remained before I could break through to bone forging. That step was still significant. I lacked accumulation, so breaking through would not be easy. Once my body fully adapted to the strength of the jade skin stage, reaching bone forging would become simple. Given enough pills, I was confident I could do it within a day. And this was only skin refinement. The later stages, 2nd-tier bone forging, 3rd-tier flesh tempering, and 4th-tier meridian condensation, would require ever more resources. Perhaps vicious beast hunting truly suited me. Killing one first-tier, 9th-level beast could earn hundreds of thousands or 1 million dragon coins. If I could kill 2nd-tier beasts, earning 1 million each would be effortless, and rewards of tens of millions would not be surprising. I considered this as I put on a clean school uniform over the edgeless soft armor. After breakfast, I said goodbye to my aunt and headed for school. Be careful, Han Shui called as she watched me leave. There was no hurry to become a vicious beast hunter. First, I needed to win today's four-school tournament. Although I now had first-tier, 9th-level cultivation, the skin across my body shone with more than a lustrous jade hue. An almost imperceptible dark iron sheen also covered it. Using the art of truth and illusion, I disguised my cultivation as the 2nd-tier, 1st level. Bone forging was perfect. It matched second-high's martial artist, so I would not appear too talented or draw unwanted attention. It would also intimidate lower-level martial artists and discourage them from attacking casually. More than anything, I wanted to test the quality of the spell's disguise. Could high-tier martial artists like the principal see through it? If they could not, then whether I concealed my cultivation or strengthened my aura in the future, I would not need to worry about other martial artists discovering the truth. I soon returned to Nanjiang First High School. In the principal's office, Chun Ming sat behind his desk, repeatedly reviewing information about Second High. His brow was furrowed. He had spent the entire night studying, searching for every possible advantage for his students, and striving to secure the best possible result for First High. When he saw me, his deep frown vanished instantly, replaced by an irrepressible smile. "You're early. Come here. I'll tell you about your opponent, Li Wei. He's a second-tier bone forging martial artist. Bone forging tempers the skeleton, making the body far stronger than that of a skin refinement martial artist. Whether in attack power, reaction speed, or defense, someone at skin refinement simply cannot compare with a bone forging martial artist." Chen Ming carefully described the differences. I already knew that the fourth-tier thunderclap finger gave me extraordinary attack power, but I still needed to remain cautious. Know yourself and your enemy, and you could win every battle. You are extremely strong. Your cultivation level simply hasn't caught up yet. He spent an entire year polishing his foundations before successfully reaching bone forging, so it's normal that his combat power is somewhat higher. When you face a bone forging martial artist, remain calm. After all, you've trained for only 2 days. The iron bone phase of early bone forging greatly strengthened the skeleton and gave it a faint silver-gray color. That color manifested on the skin as an extremely subtle dark iron luster. As a 6th-tier martial artist, Chen Ming sensed the dark iron sheen on my body immediately. I had clearly broken through to bone forging. I broke through. It didn't feel difficult. In truth, I had not broken through. I was only using the art of truth and illusion to maintain the appearance of that realm. I had deliberately disguised myself as a second-tier, first-level martial artist to see whether Chen Ming could discover the deception. From what I could see, he had not realized that my true cultivation was only the first tier, 9th level. If the art of truth and illusion could fool even Chen Ming, it could fool most martial artists. He hurried to my side, gripped my arm, and carefully inspected the bones throughout my body. After a full 15 minutes, he exhaled deeply. My cultivation was somewhat unstable, and my bones had not completely transformed into iron. I clearly had only just entered the second tier, first level. Cultivation inevitably injured the body. The faster someone trained, the more easily hidden damage accumulated. High-grade pills were required to heal the body and let it adapt to the mighty strength unique to martial artists. That was why many martial artists, including Chun Ming himself, carried at least some hidden injuries. A small mistake during cultivation could inflict damage that was nearly impossible to repair. My entire body, however, was perfectly intact. Both skin and bones had been refined to near perfection. Only 2 explanations could produce a body in my condition. Either a martial artist cultivated with extreme caution and made every step flawless, or they possessed a talent that accelerated physical recovery. Such a self-healing talent allowed a martial artist to cultivate freely without worrying about bodily damage. A naturally awakened recovery talent could repair 99% of all physical injuries. I cultivated so quickly, yet I had no hidden injuries and almost no marks from training. The only explanation was that I had awakened a high-ranked talent with restorative power. But a martial artist could awaken only one talent before reaching the 7th tier. My 9 Heavens Divine Thunder not only possessed peerless offensive power, but unparalleled restorative ability, and could even double its lightning damage directly. Did 9 Heavens Divine Thunder really need to be this outrageous? How is that merely an S-rank talent? Calling it SSS rank would not be an exaggeration. After remaining silent for a full 30 minutes, Chen Ming flung aside the materials he had studied all night. "It doesn't matter anymore. You possess the strength of a second-tier bone forging martial artist, along with thunderclap finger and that absurd movement technique. No one in today's four-school tournament can stop you. By the way, what is your movement art called?" 3,000 lightning steps, I answered. Chen Ming nodded. An excellent name, perfectly suited to my incomparable speed. Victory was secure. The moment Zhang Hao and Lu Hu arrived, we would set out. Just then, voices sounded outside the door. My other 2 teammates had arrived. As Chun Ming and I waited in the office for my teammates, Lu Hu's astonished cry came from outside. "Brother Hao, you broke through to the first tier, 8th level?" Zhang Hao deliberately released his aura as he opened the door, clearly intending to display the results of a night's cultivation. But the moment he saw me, The words he had prepared died on his lips. Using the art of truth and illusion, I had disguised my first tier, ninth level cultivation as the second tier, first level. Both a jade hue and a faint dark iron luster covered my skin. Jiang Hao shut the door and opened it again several times to confirm what he was seeing, then grabbed my hand. You've already reached bone forging? I just broke through. I answered, maintaining the disguise. Chun Ming gave him no time to continue questioning me. He immediately took us aboard the school bus and headed for the Nanjiang Great Forest. During the ride, Jiang Hao kept examining my cultivation. He later admitted that Elder Dan had seen through the art of truth and illusion at close range and determined that my true cultivation was first tier, ninth level. The answer did not make Jiang Hao feel much better. I had still charged from the third to the ninth level in a single day. After arriving at the stadium, we completed registration. The four-school tournament's rules were straightforward. Enter the designated section of the forest and kill vicious beasts to earn points. Competitors could also seize the scoring bands of students from other schools and eliminate them. The stadium's giant screen would broadcast surveillance footage from the forest. University special admissions instructors were also present to select students. Chun Ming specifically reminded me that Shenzhou University had once offered a promising student 1 billion dragon coins. Soon afterward, Li Wei, second high school's strongest competitor, walked over. He had reached the second tier, first level, but he knew only Jiang Hao and had never heard of me. Hand over your scoring band, and I'll spare you a beating. Li Wei directed the threat at Jiang Hao without even looking at me. Jiang Hao did not argue. I did not reveal my strength either. Only a few minutes remained before the tournament began. Once we entered the forest, everyone would learn who First High School's true trump card was. You don't know me? I was this powerful, yet First High had not even bothered to learn who I was? In a minute, I'll make sure you remember Grandpa Li's name. The tournament allowed students to eliminate competitors from other schools. Only after Li Wei left did Jiang Hao react. No wonder the man had looked familiar. Jiang Hao had researched him before and seen his photograph. Second High's strongest student was a second-tier bone forging martial artist. But bone forging was not all that impressive, was it? Jiang Hao's 8 Extremes Fist was a fourth-tier martial technique. All right. Chun Ming had finished registering the group. He waved. The four-school tournament is about to begin. Once it starts, Jiang Hao and Lu Hu will follow Chu Feng's instructions. Chu Feng is strong enough to at least fight Li Wei evenly. As he spoke, he led us toward the viewing area and patiently explained the tournament rules, mainly for my benefit. I had awakened only yesterday, so it was natural that I knew little about the event. The rules were not complicated. We killed vicious beasts, nothing difficult about that. We merely had to avoid violations. No killing people, no leaving the designated area, and so on. Besides the rules, Chun Ming introduced several judges. The judges were special admissions instructors from various universities. They did not award points. Their only responsibility was selecting talent for their own schools. Do you see the man in black martial attire sitting at the very front of the judges section? He is a special admissions instructor from Shenzhou University, the strongest school in the Dragon Nation. Shenzhou is extraordinarily generous. The last time they found a promising student, they offered 1 billion dragon coins and recruited him on the spot. 1 billion dragon coins could buy 1,000 spirit stones, right? With 1,000 stones, I was confident I could force my cultivation to the 9th level of Qi refining, equivalent to a 3rd tier, 9th level flesh tempering martial artist. Given enough resources, my martial cultivation would rise rapidly as well. With a supply of high-grade pills, breaking through to the 2nd tier would be effortless. Don't think 1 billion is too much. That is merely the enrollment payment. Ordinary students pay tuition to attend school. Shenzhou University pays tuition to its students. Once you enter Shenzhou University, you'll have access to every kind of cultivation art and pill. Dedicated instructors will guide you as well. As long as you complete the monthly assessments, earning tens of billions every month will be easy. My heart stirred as he spoke. I had never imagined Shenzhou University offered such excellent treatment. There was no need to rush into becoming a vicious beast hunter. I had to fight for a place at Shenzhou. Besides the strongest school, there was Baichao Tongji Medical and Alchemical University, the Dragon Nation's finest alchemy institution. Then there was Lingxiao Institute of Technology, the nation's best school for artifact forging. Powerful weapons could raise a martial artist's combat strength with ease. The edgeless soft armor I wore, for example, dramatically increased my defense and survivability. While wearing it, attacks from second-tier bone forging martial artists could hardly penetrate my defense. Besides the top few universities, nearly every famous school had sent representatives. The event might be called a four-school tournament, but in practice it was a special admissions competition that could determine the future reputation or even survival of several high schools. Soon, a deep broadcast voice rang through the venue. All students, prepare to enter the field. The tournament will begin in 10 minutes. At the announcement, Chun Ming led the three of us out of the viewing area and to the outskirts of the Nanjiang Great Forest. He handed me a map and explained the relevant rules. Once the competition began, we could enter the forest, kill vicious beasts, and earn points. Each of us wore a corresponding device, a scoring band capable of protecting the competitor from injury in a critical moment. The bands also collected points. Competitors primarily earned them by destroying the scoring device attached to a vicious beast's head, after which the band recorded the corresponding value. Seizing the band of a student from another school eliminated them. Whichever school had the highest final score took first place. During the preparation period, Li Wei from second high rushed over again. He did not know me and believed Jiang Hao was our strongest competitor. Li Wei marched up to Jiang Hao and flexed his muscles. Do you know who I am now? A second-tier martial artist is naturally stronger than a first-tier one. Hand me your scoring band now, and I'll beat you a little less severely. Jiang Hao could only nod helplessly and agree. What else could he do? The tournament had not started, so he could not attack. Otherwise, one punch might knock Li Wei dead. Inside the stadium, university instructors watched the students from the four high schools through the surveillance feeds. When they saw Li Wei in particular, they began murmuring. This is the strongest high school student in this class. He doesn't seem very composed. And the second tier, first level, isn't particularly impressive. I remember the strongest student once reached the second tier, seventh level, in a single year. Above average talent, combat power still unknown, somewhat impetuous disposition. Overall evaluation, C+. Of course, if a truly exceptional student appeared, they would spare no expense. Just then, the broadcast sounded again. All students, enter the Nanjiang Great Forest. The scoring bands will begin officially recording points in 1 minute. At the forest's edge, Chun Ming handed each of us a package of vicious beast meat and vitality pills. They could restore stamina quickly and might prove extremely useful at a critical moment. Finally, he warned us patiently. The strongest vicious beasts near the center of the forest can reach the second tier, 9th level. Some may even possess special abilities. I don't recommend going there. Almost no one can defeat a second tier, 9th level vicious beast. But challenging powerful beasts is also an excellent opportunity to display your abilities before the special admissions instructors. If you want to attend a good university, you may have to grit your teeth and make the attempt. I nodded. Even if Chun Ming had said nothing, I would have tried. Killing vicious beasts could produce lucky bags, so if I could kill them, I certainly would. Chun Ming then led Jiang Hao and me into the forest. After entering the forest, I suggested that we split up. My strength should be enough to sweep through the entire field, bringing Jiang Hao and Lu who would only hinder my movement. The only problem was that Jiang Hao might be surrounded and eliminated. But that was not serious. If it happened, I could simply steal his points back for him. Powerful vicious beasts lived near the center of the forest. They awarded more points and dropped higher-level lucky bags. Most importantly, Principal Chun had said this was an excellent opportunity to display my strength. I had no reason to ignore the generous rewards offered through special admissions. The trees in the core region of the Nanjiang forest grew with exceptional vigor, their massive trunks reaching toward the sky. Many powerful vicious beasts had been placed throughout the area. The moment I entered the core, I encountered a python covered in blue-green scales. Even coiled, it measured nearly 20 feet long. Fully extended, it would be an outrageously massive snake. According to Chun Ming's map, this was a green-scaled python, a second-tier, 7th-level beast. Its scales provided extraordinary defense, enough to withstand attacks at the second-tier, 9th level. I showed no fear when I saw it. Perfect. I would use it as my first victim and test the power of my newly learned thunderclap finger. I unleashed 3,000 lightning steps at full strength. With a sharp crackle, I transformed into a dazzling bolt. Before the python could react, I flashed past its body, driving thunderclap finger to maximum power. Terrifying force struck one scale on the python's head and shattered it. The blow also sent the snake flying into a large tree, knocking it down and startling a vast flock of birds. Yet although the python had been launched through the air and lost a scale, it had not suffered a serious injury. The defense provided by its scales was simply outrageous. Even though my thunderclap finger possessed power above the second tier, 7th level, the strike still could not kill it. I had merely shattered one scale. I failed to break open its skull or inject 9 heavens divine thunder into its brain, so the attack caused no fatal damage. I reappeared, my right fingers twitching faintly. That strike had approached my maximum. Combining extreme speed with the 4th-tier thunderclap finger, I was confident the attack had reached the 2nd-tier, 9th level. Yet such overwhelming force had broken only a single scale. The green-scaled python recovered rapidly and roared at me. As a mighty overlord of the forest, when had it ever been beaten the moment it appeared? This human had gone too far. With a sudden burst, the python launched itself forward, opened its blood-filled mouth, and lunged at me. I watched the ferocious beast, my gaze flickering. I had only just arrived. If I ran, I would humiliate myself. My performance had most likely already been recorded. Escaping would mean wasting a chance to impress the special admissions instructors. But if I stayed, I still could not break through its scale defense. The scales were simply too hard. Continuing to struggle would waste time. Deep blue lightning covered me once more, and I swept past the python's head at a speed invisible to the naked eye. The green-scaled python showed no fear. It had concluded that I could not penetrate its scales, so it twisted in midair, positioning its body to coil around and crush me. This time, however, I did not attack the scales on its head. I drove my fingers viciously into its eye. The thrust destroyed its left eye. The python thrashed violently, but the injury was not fatal. Its body writhed, and its desire to attack me became even more intense. But my attack was not finished. With a crackle, 9 heavens divine thunder traveled through the ruined eye and invaded the python's skull. The mighty lightning carbonized its brain on the spot. The beast died instantly and collapsed with a heavy thump, its body twitching. I reappeared before the corpse, pried open its jaws, and tore the scoring device from its mouth. I scanned it with my band. Beep. Green-scaled python killed. Score plus 1,291. If I remembered correctly, the previous tournament record was only 3,000 points. It had not dropped a lucky bag, which was somewhat disappointing. I continued deeper into the forest, determined to kill as many beasts as possible and raise my score. Lucky bags were essential as well. On the stadium's largest screen, Li Wei and his 2 teammates from Second High were fighting a silverback wolf. Since Li Wei was publicly regarded as the strongest student, the special admissions instructors naturally focused on him, waiting to see whether this supposed genius would deliver an impressive performance. At that moment, his battle with the 2nd-tier, 2nd-level wolf was fierce. The instructors watched intently. No one noticed that my name had quietly occupied first place on the leaderboard beside the main screen. First, Chu Feng, 1,291 points. Second, Zhang Hao, 99 points. Third, Xian Mingming, 53 points. Li Wei and the silverback wolf were evenly matched, wrestling on the ground. The wolf knocked him down, opened its fang-filled jaws, and bit viciously toward his throat. Li Wei used every ounce of strength to hold the beast's jaws open with both hands. No matter what happened, he could not let it bite down. If the scoring band's protective mechanism activated, he would be eliminated. His 2 teammates punched and kicked the silverback wolf, but their attacks produced little effect, practically none. The difference in cultivation was too great. Without powerful martial techniques, the blows from 2 first-tier martial artists were little more than scratches. Li Wei also knew only a first-tier technique, giving him limited attack power. His B-rank talent, Impregnable Fortress, increased defense. Most importantly, he was fighting 1 level above his own cultivation. That was why handling a 2nd-tier, 2nd-level silverback wolf was so difficult. Fortunately, his teammates knew how to think. One of them dug his fingers viciously into the wolf's eyes, making it howl. Li Wei seized the opportunity to escape its jaws. He pinned its head and hammered it repeatedly, unleashing a first-tier martial technique 5 or 6 times. At last, relying on the strength of his 2nd-tier bone-forging body, he beat the silverback wolf to death. After the bitter fight, he claimed its 226 points, a very high score. Phew. He exhaled deeply and collapsed weakly onto the forest floor, which was covered in dead leaves. Surely that put him in first place now. Unfortunately, he could not see the rankings. After the tournament ended, I watched the recording of Li Wei's performance. More than 200 points were enough to keep other martial artists chasing him for quite some time. After all, a first-tier, 9th-level vicious beast was not easy to kill. Even as a 2nd-tier martial artist, he needed time to kill them one by one. That was even more true for the other competitors at the first-tier skin refinement stage. Publicly, Li Wei was the only 2nd-tier bone forging martial artist. Every other school had sent students at skin refinement. He vaguely remembered that First High had added a martial artist named Chu Feng, registered at the first tier, ninth level. That might be the peak of skin refinement, but compared with his own second-tier bone forging cultivation, the difference was as vast as heaven and earth. Li Wei was confident he could fight two of me with one hand. With more than 200 points secured, victory was practically guaranteed. He might know only one first-tier martial technique, but his combat power was unquestionably the highest among all these beginners. Why did he know only a first-tier technique? He had no choice. He had devoted all his time to raising his cultivation. Where could he find additional time to study martial arts? One first-tier technique was enough for now. Once his cultivation became higher, he could slowly learn advanced techniques, couldn't he? At this stage, he needed to establish his foundations. High-tier martial techniques were extraordinarily difficult. Wouldn't the time spent studying one be better used to raise his cultivation by 2 levels? Cultivation level was real, tangible power. With that thought, Li Wei led his teammates deeper into the Nanjiang Great Forest to search for powerful beasts. He wanted to kill several more second-tier creatures and approach the 3,000-point record. If he found more beasts like the silverback wolf, each would be worth 200 points. He needed to kill at least 15. The tournament lasted 6 hours, requiring an average of 2.5 beasts per hour, a demanding task. Stronger creatures, such as those at the second tier's 7th or 8th levels, were worth more points. But he could not defeat them. Challenging one might even get him eliminated, so there was no reason to provoke them. He would focus on killing manageable beasts. Near the end of the tournament, he could rob the other competitors and secure first place without risk. Meanwhile, on the stadium's giant screen, the special admissions instructors discussed Li Wei's performance after his group killed the silverback wolf. His strength doesn't look impressive. He took that long to defeat a second-tier, second-level silverback wolf. A slightly stronger opponent would eliminate him immediately. It seems Li Wei's talent is limited despite reaching the second tier. Many gifted martial artists make time to study powerful techniques while raising their cultivation. At the same level, knowing more high-tier techniques is a sign of greater talent. Li Wei can barely be considered a genius. His cultivation is the highest among all competitors, and his combat power is probably the strongest. That much is beyond doubt. Indeed, anyone capable of killing a second-tier, second-level silverback wolf must have excellent aptitude. Judged by previous classes, Li Wei definitely ranks near the top. Remember, last year's 4-school tournament in Nanjiang City did not have a single second-tier martial artist. If none of you want him, I'll take Li Wei. I want him too. Don't try to steal him from me. Enough nonsense. State your offers and compete fairly. The instructors' discussion turned into a fierce argument. They nearly came to blows over Li Wei. Second High's principal watched, grinning so widely he could barely close his mouth. He looked down proudly on the principals of the other 3 schools, his arrogant gaze practically saying, "What do you think of my genius?" Special admissions benefited the individual student, but taking first place benefited the entire school. A victory for Second High would greatly increase its reputation and attract Nanjiang City's best students. Better students naturally produced better results, creating a virtuous cycle. Sooner or later, Second High would defeat the other 3 and become the strongest high school in all Nanjiang City. Among the admissions representatives, however, the instructors from the Dragon Nation's strongest universities offered no opinion. Their schools did not lack gifted students. Li Wei was a second-tier, first-level martial artist who could not even defeat a second-level beast alone. He was far too weak. Without his teammates' help, the wolf would have eliminated him. Unless personal connections were involved, instructors from top universities had almost no interest in Li Wei. Looks like I'll return empty-handed again this year. That's normal. True geniuses are rare. There's nothing strange about failing to encounter one. Shenzhou University valued quality over quantity. Even if the university had no students left to recruit, Fangyu would never take someone like Li Wei. After Li Wei killed the silverback wolf, the leaderboard changed slightly. First, Chu Feng, 1,291 points. Second, Li Wei, 226 points. Third, Jiang Hao, 99 points. Fourth, just then, an instructor noticed the rankings and discovered that Li Wei was not first. Look at the leaderboard. The shout drew every instructor's attention. When they saw my score, they were dumbfounded. More than 1,200 points. Did this kid kill 6 silverback wolves? 6. One silverback wolf almost defeated Li Wei by itself. 6 together could probably wipe out every competitor. With a score that high, could Chu Feng have killed a late second-tier vicious beast? Impossible. I'd sooner believe he killed 6 silverback wolves. Do you have any idea how powerful a late second-tier beast is? Forget 6. Even 12 silverback wolves could not defeat one at the second tier, 7th level. After the tournament, I reviewed the stadium surveillance recordings. When my scores suddenly shot to the top, the special admissions instructors first suspected a malfunction in the scoring system. High-level vicious beasts had extremely thick hides. The green-scaled python I had fought was one example. Even if a silverback wolf broke every tooth biting it, the wolf could never penetrate its defenses. The instructors understood this perfectly. That was why my score seemed so unbelievable. I think the system probably malfunctioned. How else could Chu Feng's score be this high? Exactly. How long has the tournament been running? He has already killed a late second-tier beast? That makes no sense. The strongest competitor is only at the second tier, 1st level, right? If Li Wei faced a late second-tier vicious beast, he would have no chance of survival. Even if Chu Feng killed early second-tier beasts, hunting them one at a time should still take time. It was too fast, and the score was too high, completely unreasonable. Fang Yu had attended countless four-school tournaments in Nanjiang City and had never seen anyone earn more than 1,000 points so quickly. He had no choice but to suspect a problem. Someone was cheating. Fang Yu gave a cold snort. The aura unique to a 7th-tier blood mobilization martial artist instantly pressed down on a vast section of the crowd. Investigate. Investigate it thoroughly. Of course, I might truly possess such strength. Whether I had cheated or was genuinely powerful, Fang Yu wanted all my information immediately. Surveillance cameras covered the entire field. The net of heaven was vast, and nothing escaped it. No one could evade Fang Yu's eyes beneath monitoring that left no blind spots. Once the footage was retrieved, the truth would become clear. As a special admissions instructor from Xinzhou University, the strongest institution in the Dragon Nation, Fang Yu possessed extremely high status. His command was carried out almost immediately. The staff used my scoring band to identify the relevant surveillance recordings. A targeted search was highly efficient. Within minutes, they would know the entire sequence of events. Inside the stadium's viewing area, First High's principal, Chen Ming, raised his head involuntarily when he saw my score. He looked at Second High's principal, open provocation spilling from his eyes. What do you think of my genius? Impossible. Absolutely impossible. You must have cheated. Once the surveillance footage appears, your tournament qualification will be revoked, and your disgrace will spread across all Nanjiang City. Second High had struggled to earn a little more than 200 points. First High publicly had no second-tier martial artist, yet its score was nearly 6 times higher. How could that be right? Something was clearly wrong. Otherwise, how could a First High student outscore Second High's second-tier martial artist? Chen Ming did not panic at Shun Zhu's accusation. He could not even be bothered to answer, because he had personally witnessed my combat power and trusted my strength. Words were always pale. Once the surveillance footage played, wouldn't the truth become obvious? The image on the stadium's giant screen changed. I appeared before everyone in footage from before the tournament began, while I was still standing beside Chen Ming. Seeing that the recording had been retrieved, Second High's principal, Xinzhu, sneered. "Umph. The evidence will be undeniable. Just wait until your reputation is destroyed." On the giant screen, the tournament began and I entered the field. I decided to split up, transformed into a streak of deep blue lightning, and vanished from the frame at extreme speed. Everyone drew a sharp breath when they saw my wind and thunder movement. What level was that martial technique? It was so fast. According to the records, isn't Chu Feng only at the 1st tier, 9th level? Why does his speed resemble that of a 2nd tier, 9th level martial artist using a movement technique at perfect mastery? Can a 1st tier martial artist truly move that quickly? Where is First High's principal? Explain this. Chen Ming scratched his head. The competitor information had been submitted the previous day. He had already estimated my strength as generously as possible, yet he had not expected me to reach the 2nd tier today. He could only tell the truth. Chu Feng broke through last night. We didn't have time to update his information. The instructors found that reasonable. Advancing from the 1st tier, 9th level to the 2nd tier, 1st level overnight was plausible. Wait, that still was not right. A 2nd tier, 1st level martial artist should not be that fast either. Li Wei was at the same tier, yet he possessed nothing like this combat power. They would keep watching. The recording would reveal exactly how I had earned more than 1,200 points. For now, there was simply no flaw to criticize. I was young, and my cultivation was high. More importantly, judging from the speed in the recording, my combat power existed on a completely different level from Li Wei's. If I was truly as powerful as the replay suggested, then wouldn't second Highsbone forging student be crushed and reduced to nothing more than my stepping stone? Shinju turned toward Chen Ming and spoke irritably. Umph, what are you so proud of? We still need to watch the rest and see whether he used some shameful method. Among the special admissions instructors, Fang Yu's eyes flickered as he watched, carrying the excitement of someone who might have discovered a genius. He could tell that I possessed the same second-tier, first-level cultivation as Li Wei. It genuinely seemed possible that I had killed a late second-tier vicious beast. But Fang Yu still wondered how I had done it. Every late second-tier beast was formidable in its own way. Some possessed such outrageous defense that killing them was impossible without sufficient offensive power. Others were extraordinarily agile and roamed constantly through the forest. Without enough speed, a martial artist could not touch so much as a hair. Most vicious beasts also had astonishing vitality. A small injury affected them hardly at all. Without a powerful method, killing a strong, vicious beast was extraordinarily difficult. While Fang Yu considered the problem, the image on the giant screen changed again. This time, it showed me facing a ferocious green snake. A green-scaled python. A second-tier, 7th-level vicious beast whose defense surpassed even that of certain 9th-level beasts. After the tournament, I saw the instructors' reactions to my battle with the green-scaled python in the stadium replay. The moment the footage appeared, several instructors focused on the python's scales. An ordinary second-tier martial artist can't penetrate that defense. Chu Feng is only at the second-tier, first level. No matter how fast he is, if his attack is insufficient, all he can do is run. The replay then showed my first frontal strike, sending the green-scaled python flying. The scale on top of its head shattered instantly, and the stadium fell silent. During the second exchange, I used 3,000 lightning steps to circle to its side. Thunderclap finger pierced its eye, and I poured 9 heavens divine thunder into its skull. In less than 15 minutes, every trace of life left the python. His strength is already close to the second tier, 9th level. His lightning talent is S rank at minimum. And then there's that movement art. Speed, attack, and reaction are all essential. There are probably very few beasts in the entire forest capable of stopping him. When the replay ended, every special admissions instructor who had doubted me fell silent. On the leaderboard, my 1,291 points held first place securely. At that moment, second place suddenly changed to Jiang Hao, whose score rose to 417. Li Wei fell to third with 226. Jiang Hao had just killed a giant spider at the second tier, third level, and was clearly doing everything possible to catch up. I did not see his battle. I learned from the public tournament records afterward that he had crossed levels and made the kill using the 8 extremes fist taught by Elder Dan. The 4th-tier martial technique possessed extremely high offensive power, and its success convinced Jiang Hao that he was qualified to compete for first place. In the recording, Jiang Hao was already covered in wounds. The giant spider stood several minor levels above him. Its 8 long legs blocked every escape route like spears, while its abdomen constantly fired venomous silk. Jiang Hao did not confront it head-on. Instead, he deliberately exposed an opening and lured the spider into stabbing its 2 front legs deep into the mud. The opportunity lasted only an instant. He rushed along one of the legs and entered the inner circle, striking the same point on the spider's abdomen repeatedly with 8 extremes fist. The first blow cracked its shell, the second widened the break, and the third drove force directly into its organs. Green blood erupted as one of the spider's legs swept him away, leaving deep wounds across his shoulder and back. His scoring band did not activate its protection, proving he could still fight. Jiang Hao swallowed a pill and leaned against a tree, waiting for his vitality and blood energy to recover. Elder Dan's voice came through his recording device, urging him to leave quickly. The smell of blood would attract more beasts, and another fight might eliminate him. Jiang Hao first raised his scoring band and confirmed the additional 318 points. He regarded the narrow victory as a chance to catch me and as proof that 8 extremes fist could kill enemies above his level. But when he looked up at the leaderboard, he discovered that my score was nearly 3 times his. How does Chu Feng have more than 1,200 points? Elder Dan still tried to comfort him. His movement art is merely fast. If he encounters a vicious beast truly skilled in defense, he may not be able to break through it. Jiang Hao did not stop. Dragging his wounded body, he continued deeper into the forest, determined to close the gap by killing more beasts. His persistence did not change the leader, but it allowed him to surpass Li Wei later in the tournament. For a competitor with only first-tier, 8th-level cultivation, more than 400 points was already striking. It looked unimpressive only because his achievement appeared on the same leaderboard as mine. At that same moment, I had already left the green-scaled python's corpse and continued toward the core region. The number on my scoring band was merely a result. I cared more about whether the next beast would bring me a high-level lucky bag. The greater the danger ahead, the more points and cultivation resources I could obtain. Before my stamina ran out, I had to transform my advantage into genuine strength. I could not stop. In the core region of the Nanjiang Great Forest, I did not pause after killing the green-scaled python. I continued searching for vicious beasts to fight. There were not many high-level beasts in the core. Given the competitor's strength, these creatures were primarily meant as deterrents. Almost no one challenged them. I had come directly to the core because I wanted more points, greater exposure before the special admissions instructors, and higher-level lucky bags. As I roamed the area, I soon discovered something. Not far away stood an ape nearly 6.5 feet tall. Its arms were extremely long, reaching below its knees when lowered. Its body was well-proportioned and lacked the oppressive presence typical of vicious beasts. At that moment, it was playing with a tile. Mysterious runes had been carved into the palm-sized fragment, which radiated a strange power. According to Principal Chen's map, this creature was a long-armed ape king. A male and female pair lived in the forest, both at the second tier, 9th level. They were the strongest existences in this section of the competition forest. Killing one awarded 2,300 points. This ape king was alone. Once I killed it, its mate would surely hear the disturbance and come. Killing both would push my score beyond 5,000 with ease, shattering the historical record. More than 5,000 points should be enough to attract Shenzhou University's admissions instructor, earn the billion-coin reward, and enter the university, right? A hidden camera nearby broadcast everything live to the stadium and the assembled instructors. After watching my battle with the green-scaled python, they had shifted every screen to follow me. Wait, the long-armed ape kings are there to keep competitors away, not to be challenged. They may stand less than 2 meters tall, but most have mastered powerful fighting skills. Their combat strength can rival that of certain third-tier vicious beasts. Those skills combined with a beast's overwhelming strength and vitality make them difficult opponents even for martial artists at the same level. More importantly, there are two, their mates, and almost never separate. If Chu Feng can't finish the battle quickly, he'll most likely end up fighting both at once. 2 second-tier, 9th-level vicious beasts surrounding a second-tier, 1st-level martial artist. There is no possible path to victory. Even Fang Yu of Shenzhou University, who thought highly of me, believed I would lose now. As long as I left without provoking the Ape King, I would be fine. In the viewing area, Second High's principal, Shinju, became excited when he saw me preparing to challenge it. He had never imagined I would dare confront a second-tier, 9th-level long-armed Ape King. Shinju hoped I would be eliminated here. If my score stopped rising, Second High would still have a chance to reverse the result. He fixed his eyes on the giant screen. In the footage, Shinju stared at the screen and waited for my elimination. In the forest, lightning crawled over my entire body. Then I transformed into a dazzling bolt and shot toward the Ape King's head. At a glance, this kind of vicious beast did not appear to possess much defense. If my thunderclap finger connected, I was confident I could kill it with one strike. I reached the Ape King, 9 heavens divine thunder gathering over my fingers, and thrust at its head with unparalleled force. At that instant, time seemed to slow without limit. Within that slowed world, the Ape King gradually turned its head and looked at me in confusion. I understood clearly that time had not actually slowed. This vicious beast had seen through my movement. It was the first opponent to read my speed since I mastered 3,000 lightning steps. The green-scaled python had possessed no ability to resist my attacks. Its reactions existed on a completely different level from my speed, so no matter how durable it was, I could crush it with ease. It merely required a little extra effort. The long-armed Ape King's reactions perfectly matched my speed. Its combat power was unquestionably no weaker than mine. It whipped its head around, and our gazes met. Ferocity entered its eyes. It quietly tightened its grip on the tile, then tilted its head slightly and avoided my fatal thrust. Its counterattack carried tremendous force, magnified further by my own high-speed momentum. I was finally stopped by a huge boulder. My chest felt suffocated, and the injury was not light. Without the edgeless soft armor from the system marketplace, the strike would certainly have triggered my scoring band's protection. If the band protected me, I would be eliminated. I understood that the situation was critical. The Ape King was too powerful, and I risked elimination at any moment. Enduring the discomfort in my body, I flashed with lightning and prepared to run. There was no reason to struggle to the death against an opponent I could not defeat. Killing several second-tier, 7th-level beasts would produce the same result. I had underestimated the long-armed ape king and assumed it would be as easy to handle as the green-scaled python. I had not taken it seriously. I never expected its combat power to be this great. As I prepared to flee, an intense sense of danger suddenly flooded my heart. Without hesitation, I pushed 3,000 lightning steps to its absolute limit. Every trace of spiritual power in my body erupted without restraint. At the same instant, I activated talent maximization and drove 9 Heaven's divine thunder to maximum power. The violent crash of shattering stone rang out behind me. Another long-armed ape king. Fortunately, I had reacted quickly, or I would have been eliminated on the spot. But even as relief touched me, I discovered that the ape king that had injured me was directly ahead. In the danger of the moment, I had fled instinctively without choosing a direction and charged straight at the beast that sent me flying. This was bad. I was moving too quickly to turn. My only choice was to gamble, minimize the injury, pass the ape king, and escape directly. In the blink of an eye, I reached the long-armed ape king. Focusing completely, I summoned 9 Heaven's divine thunder over 2 fingers and prepared to exchange another move. Then I noticed that the ape king appeared dazed, its movements seemingly slowing. It had not become slower. I had become faster. Much, much faster. I understood the reason instantly. 3,000 lightning steps had always been quick, not much slower than the ape king. Previously, however, I had used the technique without spiritual power, limiting it to its lowest speed. I had no choice. Spiritual energy was precious. Every bit I used was gone, and I also needed it to maintain the art of truth and illusion. The meager energy I absorbed from the air could barely balance my normal consumption. But the crisis had forced me to pour in every trace of spiritual power, while talent maximization doubled the strength of 9 Heaven's divine thunder. Under both enhancements, the speed of 3,000 lightning steps soared, while the ape king's speed remained unchanged. Naturally, its movements appeared slow in my eyes, extremely slow. As I passed the ape king, thunderclap fingers sliced across its neck without hesitation. In an instant, 9 Heaven's divine thunder invaded its skull and destroyed its brain. You killed a vicious beast and were fortunate enough to receive a second-tier, 9th-level lucky bag. Delight surged through me, but I did not open the bag. I immediately reversed direction and attacked the other long-armed ape king. Both possessed second-tier, 9th-level cultivation and comparable strength. The second had no ability to resist me either. You killed a vicious beast and were fortunate enough to receive a second-tier, 9th-level lucky bag. Another lucky bag. After killing both ape kings, I slowly reappeared. The spiritual power in my body was almost exhausted. Unable to maintain the art of truth and illusion, I revealed my true cultivation at the first tier, 9th level. Activating my talents had also consumed a great deal of stamina. I crouched in place and rested for quite some time before beginning to clear the battlefield. Everything that had happened was transmitted without omission to the stadium through the cameras hidden throughout the forest. The giant screen froze on the instant the second long-armed ape king appeared, and I transformed into blue lightning. The staff had not paused it deliberately. My powerful lightning caused intense electromagnetic interference and disrupted the signal, temporarily cutting the broadcast. It was not a serious problem. The staff worked to restore the feed. Once I left the area or withdrew my lightning, the broadcast should return to normal. He couldn't defeat one long-armed ape king, much less 2. He has no chance. All we can do is hope Chu Feng isn't eliminated. With his speed, escaping shouldn't be difficult. Escape? Where can he go? They're attacking from both directions. He can't possibly get away. Chu Feng may be fast, but he hasn't opened any distance. If the ape kings pursue him, he cannot escape. 2 ape kings can surround and kill him. At best, he can maneuver for a little while. Defeat is only a matter of time. What a shame. Losing to the ape kings means he'll finish with only a little over 1,000 points, still more than 2,000 short of the historical record. The instructors continued debating, but not one believed I could avoid elimination beneath the ape king's combined attack. As Shenzhou University's admissions instructor, Fang Yu naturally possessed exceptional judgment. Yet even when he imagined himself in my position, he could find no way to escape. I might maneuver against 1 ape king, but 2 created a hopeless situation. Unless I suddenly multiplied my speed several times over, I could not oppose them. Yet how difficult was it to increase speed? I was already extremely fast. Fighting a second-tier, ninth-level beast at only the second tier, first level was an achievement in itself. Doubling that speed again was impossible. Still, even if I was eliminated here, Fang Yu believed the loss could not conceal my talent. Failing to win the tournament did not matter. He had already acknowledged my potential. Whatever the result, he had decided to try to recruit me to Shinjo University. I was simply a little hot-blooded, a little too sharp. Young people naturally enjoy taking risks. Once my cultivation rose, I would become steadier. Seeing me suffer a setback, Second High's principal grinned, so widely the corners of his mouth nearly reached the sky. I was no match for one Ape King, and now a second had appeared. In this situation, almost certain defeat awaited me. Even if I broke through in the middle of battle, I could never defeat them. If my second tier, first level cultivation advanced again, could I suddenly crush a beast at the 9th level? My score was only a little above 1200. If Li Wei worked harder, surpassing me would be no problem. So this is your school student? Isn't he a little too arrogant? The situation appeared dangerous, but to me, it was no true crisis. Yesterday, at the first tier, 3rd level, I had killed 5 vicious beasts in succession, including 3 in the late 1st tier. My cultivation was stronger now. I should not fear 2 second tier, 9th level beasts. When Shinju saw Chun Ming ignore him, he grew even more smug. Nothing to say? When Chu Feng is eliminated, you'll be the one crying. He spoke viciously, furious at Chun Ming's attitude. I was clearly injured, so why was Chun Ming still calm? If I was eliminated, first place in the 4-school tournament would belong to Second High. As Shun Zhu considered this, the giant screen returned to normal and resumed the footage of my battle with the Ape Kings. Seeing the image move, Shun Zhu looked at Chun Ming. Here it came. Was he prepared for defeat? I later watched the complete stadium recording. When the image returned, everyone stared at me and the 2 long-armed Ape Kings. I transformed into lightning and charged the Ape King that had sent me flying. Blue light swept across the side of its neck, and a line of blood exploded behind me. Its huge body crashed to the ground. The other Ape King had only begun to turn when I appeared before it. Thunderclap Finger pierced its vital point, and the second tier, 9th level beast fell as well. The stadium remained silent for more than 10 seconds. 2 vicious beasts powerful enough to eliminate every competitor had failed to withstand a single attack from me. Is Chu Feng really at the second tier, 1st level? His speed at least doubled, more than 5,000 points. The historical record has already been broken. Fang Yu of Shinjo University replayed the footage repeatedly. He could not explain why I was a returning senior, but he confirmed that my lightning talent, explosive power, and movement art had all reached the highest level. In his judgment, my basic cultivation was not high, but 3,000 lightning steps pushed my speed to the peak of the 2nd tier. My final burst doubled it again, leaving the Ape Kings no time to defend. That combat talent alone was enough for Shinjo University to make an exception and recruit me. What puzzled him even more was the disappearance of the dark iron sheen on my skin. The art of truth and illusion had failed, revealing my true 1st tier, 9th level cultivation. Fang Yu stared at the image for a long time before interpreting the change in cultivation as a side effect of my explosive talent. He did not believe a high school student could deceive the senses of a 7th tier martial artist, but he had already decided to recruit me when the tournament ended. The other special admissions instructors also began reviewing my information again. Some analyzed Thunderclap Finger, others studied 9 Heavens Divine Thunder, and still others directly contacted their universities to request greater recruitment authority. The returning senior no one had noticed moments ago had become a target every university wanted. Chun Ming turned toward Shinju, Second High's principal, and said only one sentence. That is a student of my 1st high school. The leaderboard refreshed. 1st, Chu Feng, 5,903 points. 2nd, Jiang Hao, 417 points. 3rd, Li Wei, 226 points. My score not only broke the historical record, even the last 3 digits exceeded 2nd place. Shinju stared at the rankings, unable to say another word. Li Wei, whom he had worked so hard to recruit, had earned only a little over 200 points. Even 1st High's Jiang Hao trailed far behind me. 1st place in the tournament was no longer in doubt. The real competition had become which university could take me away. I later saw from the recordings that when Shun Zhu discovered the 2nd place competitor was still from 1st High, his face changed instantly. Only after hearing Chun Ming's words did he notice that even 2nd place belonged to a 1st High martial artist. His vision went dark, and he collapsed weakly into his seat. The 2nd tier bone forging martial artist he had worked so hard to recruit was being humiliated. After killing the two long-armed ape kings, I rested briefly and began clearing the battlefield, collecting the points and storing the corpses. The ape kings stood only about 6.5 feet tall and weighed perhaps 1 or 200 gene, so they would not yield much meat. Worse, their combat power was absurd. Without the edgeless soft armor, I might have suffered a serious setback. Compared with the green-scaled python, which measured more than 16 feet even while coiled, the python offered far better value if I wanted to sell the meat. It possessed much more flesh and had placed me under very little pressure. Still, there was no helping it. Selling the ape king's bodies was not my only purpose. I cared more about earning a higher score and giving the instructors a small demonstration, ideally enough for someone to offer 1 billion dragon coins and recruit me on the spot. There were also the lucky bag rewards. No matter how I calculated it, I had profited. That was why I challenged such difficult opponents. My score had already exceeded 5,000, 2,000 above the historical record. After this battle, entering Shinjo University should be practically guaranteed. As I prepared to place the final corpse into my system space, I noticed the tile that had fallen from the Ape King's hand. Mysterious runes covered it, making the fragment appear unusual. When I examined it, I discovered an extraordinarily faint trace of spiritual power. Could it be related to the Qi cultivation system? Perhaps it contained a powerful inheritance similar to 3,000 lightning steps, one that would increase my combat power dramatically upon acquisition. Receiving more spirit stones would be fine too. I urgently needed them for cultivation. After a moment's thought, I tried injecting spiritual power into the tile. A faint light appeared. The radiance spread, wrapped around the entire fragment, and formed a palm-sized disc. At the same time, scattered pieces of information entered my mind. The tile appeared to be only one incomplete fragment. I would have to collect all the pieces and assemble the disc before obtaining the entire map. I casually placed it inside my system space. It was useless for now. It might help in the future, though there was no way to know. After storing the second Ape King's corpse, I prepared to kill more vicious beasts. I wanted additional points and lucky bags. I could not waste valuable tournament time. At that moment, I discovered that the art of truth and illusion had failed, exposing my first tier, 9th level cultivation completely. I did not resume the second tier, 1st level disguise. There was one simple reason. I wanted to recover more spiritual power. The recent burst had consumed over half the energy in my sea of Qi. Without spiritual power, 3,000 lightning steps could not reach its maximum speed. That was why I stopped maintaining the spell and focused on absorbing ambient energy to restore my Dantian. Once it was full, I could resume the disguise. I swallowed pills from the principal to restore my stamina, then transformed into lightning and continued searching the forest for beasts. I had already killed the strongest second-tier, 9th level creatures in the field. None of the others could oppose me. With my extreme speed, I cut through them like vegetables, and my score climbed rapidly. You killed a vicious beast and were fortunate enough to receive a second-tier, 4th level lucky bag. You killed a vicious beast and were fortunate enough to receive a second-tier, 6th level lucky bag. Notifications of lucky bag rewards appeared constantly. Along the way, I discovered one problem. I lacked a scouting method. I could not accurately locate nearby beasts and fight with maximum efficiency. My largest source of points was a pack of silverback wolves, the strongest of which had reached the second tier, 4th level. In the blink of an eye, I harvested every silverback wolf, turning them into merciless points and adding to my record. Naturally, I collected the corpses along with a pile of lucky bags and other rewards. Once the tournament ended, I could take stock of the harvest. Soon, only 5 minutes remained. The competitors' rankings showed. Second, Li Wei, 1,906 points. In the stadium, the instructors stared at the leaderboard in silence. My final score was even more outrageous, an astonishing 12,981 points, leaving the historical record far behind. Li Wei's 1,900 points in second place no longer looked impressive. Whether in his awakened talent or his aptitude for the martial path, Chu Feng has reached an absurd level. I'm becoming more curious about why he is a returning senior. With this strength, couldn't he have entered Shinjo University with ease? Exactly. Even if you cut Chu Feng's current strength in half, reaching the province's top 10 in the college entrance exam should be easy. The exam was only 2 months ago. Surely Chu Feng wasn't much weaker then. The instructors looked toward Feng Yu of Shinjo University, who held the highest status and therefore the greatest authority. At that moment, however, Feng Yu was on the phone with Shinjo's president and had no time for them. I've discovered a peerless genius. He has earned more than 12,000 points in the four-school tournament. Nanjiang Province's historical record is only 3,000. Across the entire Dragon Nation, the highest score in this kind of tournament is just 8,000. Once Shenzhou University recruits Chu Feng, we will secure our position at the top of the Dragon Nation's 3 great universities. It was merely a tournament for returning seniors, students who had failed to enter university or had not entered the university they wanted and chose to repeat their final year. What could be interesting about that? However strong they appeared, could they compare with the promising students Shenzhou had just recruited? Even if returning seniors possessed high combat power, their talent was generally limited. If their talent were truly good, why had they failed to enter Shenzhou University in return for another year? All right, just bring him back. There's no reason to make such a fuss. The president ended the call, leaving Fang Yu excited and at a loss inside Nanjiang Stadium. Inside the Nanjiang Great Forest, I looked at my score of more than 10,000 with complete satisfaction. I wiped the sweat from my forehead. After using 3,000 lightning steps continuously for several hours, I had successfully raised my score to nearly 13,000. I had exceeded the historical record by almost 10,000 points. Using my talents for so long had left me nearly exhausted, and my school uniform was soaked through. Fortunately, my dantian remained filled with spiritual power. The energy nourished my body and helped restore my stamina. I could also draw on it to forcefully recover part of my combat power, but I chose not to. Spiritual energy was precious, and I still needed it to maintain the art of truth and illusion. I could not let anyone see my first tier, 9th level cultivation. Besides, although I had almost no stamina, if I gritted my teeth, I should still be able to defeat a few second-tier, 4th level beasts. In any case, the tournament was almost over. There should be no need to fight again, right? With that thought, I headed toward the stadium outside the forest to finalize my score. Just then, a disheveled figure was thrown in front of me. It was Jiang Hao. He had been bound from head to toe and gagged. He wriggled across the ground like a worm. When he saw me, he struggled even more violently, as though he had lost every scrap of dignity. Damn Li Wei. Once they left, Jiang Hao would make him pay a bitter price. Jiang Hao had been hunting seriously and had killed several second-tier beasts in succession, causing his score to rise steadily. Then a venomous snake poisoned him. If Elder Dan had not driven it away with his oppressive aura, Jiang Hao would have been eliminated on the spot. Even with that secret assistance, the venom was too strong. After taking an antidote pill, Jiang Hao lost consciousness. When he woke, Li Wei had captured him and stolen all his points. There was nothing he could do. Too many cameras surrounded them. Elder Dan could not openly rescue Jiang Hao without leaving evidence of his existence. He could only watch as Li Wei treated Jiang Hao like a trophy. Jiang Hao struggled, trying to escape the ropes, but it was useless. I frowned slightly and surveyed the surroundings. Then I saw Li Wei. His clothes were torn, and a conspicuous claw mark crossed his chest. He had clearly endured many intense battles during the tournament. At that moment, however, he paid no attention to his injuries. Li Wei looked at me smugly, then gestured for his 2 teammates to circle around behind me. I've been waiting for you. Fighting for several hours must have been exhausting. Hand over your points like a good boy, and I'll spare you some physical suffering. Otherwise, see this kid? You'll end up just like him. Relying on his second-tier bone forging cultivation, Li Wei blocked the road back. No matter who arrived, they had to pay a toll. Unfortunately for him, he did not know my battle record. Otherwise, he would have fled as far as possible. On the giant screen, the instructors stared in disbelief as Li Wei threatened me. Wait, is Li Wei really that brave? Chu Feng has more than 10,000 points. Even after robbing Jiang Hao, Li Wei still can't compare. You can't blame him entirely. Li Wei doesn't know Chu Feng's true combat power. They may both appear to be at the second tier, 1st level, but in actual strength, even 5 or 6 Li Weis together probably wouldn't be enough for Chu Feng. Li Wei is simply unlucky. The crowd discussed the situation briefly and unanimously took my side. Shun Zhu nearly fainted. Given Li Wei's strength, he could have secured 2nd place without any trouble. In the surveillance room, Shun Zhu's face changed the moment he saw Li Wei rush toward me. He knew perfectly well that even 2nd-tier, 9th-level beasts could not stop me. Li Wei had no chance whatsoever. Shun Zhu covered his face. Unable to keep watching, he turned and left the stadium. Inside the forest, Li Wei knew none of this. He remained completely confident in his 2nd-tier bone forging cultivation. He continued threatening me. When I ignored him, he raised his fist and attacked my head without mercy. Li Wei moved extremely quickly, fully displaying his second-tier bone forging cultivation. An ordinary skin refinement martial artist could never resist him. I watched his fist and made my decision. Crackle. Lightning covered my entire body in an instant. In the next moment, almost no one saw what happened. Li Wei and his teammates suddenly flew backward as though struck by tremendous force. They fell to the ground and convulsed. A blackened palm print marked each chest, faint electric arcs dancing over it. I had merely slapped each of them. If I had used Thunderclap Finger, they would not have simply lost consciousness. At the same time, I untied Jiang Hao's ropes. I gave him a calm glance and said, "You can take their points. I'll be going ahead." Then I turned and left, leaving Jiang Hao staring after me. Wait, was I really that powerful? Jiang Hao had believed the gap between us was small. After seeing Li Wei fall instantly, he finally changed his judgment. Still, if he had not been unconscious, he should have been able to defeat Li Wei alone as well. Wait, I did not want any of the points? There had to be more than 2,000 here. Taking them would make first place easy, wouldn't it? The historical record was only 3,000, so more than 2,000 should give someone an excellent chance of winning. Could my score already exceed 3,000? Was I truly that impressive? Even after combining them, could Jiang Hao surpass me? He considered this as he collected the points from Li Wei and his two lackeys. His total rose to 2,208. He was only about 1,000 points short of the historical record. Carrying more than 2,000 points, Jiang Hao returned to the stadium, eager to see my final result. He headed toward the stadium with the points in hand. Little Hao, you should stop comparing yourself to Chu Feng. His combat power is beyond anything you can imagine. Jiang Hao felt unconvinced. Li Wei had merely ambushed him. He admitted I was powerful, but still believed he could fight me. After all, Jiang Hao was only at the first tier, 8th level, while I was at the 9th. A small difference was normal. He also wanted to see whether my score had truly broken the historical record. After saying goodbye to Jiang Hao, I began planning my next steps. Unless something unexpected happened, my performance should easily earn the 1 billion Dragon Coin reward from Shenzhou University's special admissions instructor. My score of more than 12,000 had left the historical record far behind. If that was not enough to enter Shenzhou University, then probably no one in Nanjiang City could do it. The billion Dragon Coins were surely mine. I planned to use most of them to buy spirit stones from the Myriad World's marketplace. There was no other choice. The spiritual energy in this world was far too thin. If I wanted to raise my cultivation, I had to rely on spirit stones. Once I broke through to the 4th level of Qi refining, I could learn a lightning spell from the lightning control art. Its attack power could harm the body of a foundation establishment cultivator, equivalent to inflicting damage on a 4th-tier meridian condensation martial artist. Its offensive power would certainly be far greater than Thunderclap Finger. Once I learned the lightning spell, I could shatter the green-scaled python's head with a single strike if I encountered another. Besides cultivation level, I felt that I lacked a scouting method. I had wasted too much time searching for vicious beasts in the forest. Otherwise, I could have raised my score by several thousand more. A powerful detection method would do more than locate beasts. It could also help me avoid critical ambushes. If someone hid in the darkness and prepared a trap, I could discover them in time and save my own life. With that thought, I quietly decided how to spend the billion. Naturally, I could not neglect my martial cultivation either. I planned to ask Shenzhou University's instructor for additional resources. I would use them to acquire essential cultivation pills, such as body tempering pills and vitality pills. I had also collected many vicious beast corpses. They were excellent cultivation resources that I could either eat or sell. I had killed so many beasts today that I would sell most of them. I only needed to keep several large carcasses, enough for my aunt and me to eat. They were second-tier beasts, after all. Once my cultivation rose, I would naturally replace second-tier meat with third-tier meat. Thinking about this, I left the Nanjiang Great Forest and immediately saw a vicious beast recycling station. The station exchanged carcasses for dragon coins by tier and weight. Quite a few people were waiting. I joined the line behind them, intending to clear the spoils from my system space. One by one, the competitors handed their carcasses to the recycling staff. Most were first tier, so processing went quickly. Just before my turn, a muscular man emerged from the forest carrying a huge wolf corpse over one shoulder. Like a fisherman showing off an enormous catch, he shouted arrogantly, "Everyone move aside. See the vicious beast on my shoulder? This is a second-tier silverback wolf." His loud voice drew every eye. When the crowd saw the wolf, which measured almost 10 feet long, they cried out in admiration. He actually killed a second-tier vicious beast. Is he really that strong? I thought Li Wei was the only second-tier bone forging martial artist among the competitors. Is that him? No, I know him. His name is Wang Dagong, a returning senior from 3rd High. He's only at the 1st tier, 6th level. He killed a 2nd tier silverback wolf at the 6th level? Impressive. He must be the strongest competitor besides Li Wei, right? Looks like 2nd place in the tournament will belong to 3rd High. Wang Dagong has real strength. Now I remember. 2nd High is incredibly lucky. What can anyone do? Their student reached the 2nd tier bone forging stage. I listened from the line and looked at the silverback wolf on the man's shoulder. I immediately noticed the bloody hole in its head, clearly left by my thunderclap finger. I remembered killing an entire pack, 20 or 30 wolves, perhaps. 1 or 2 must have escaped my collection, allowing Wang Dagong to pick up the spoils. A 2nd tier silverback wolf should be worth over 200 points. This guy was rather lucky. My priority, however, was converting my beasts into money and then finalizing my score. The line was short, and my turn arrived quickly. I raised a hand, preparing to release every vicious beast corpse from my system space. All the beasts I had killed were at least 2nd tier. Among my trophies, a silverback wolf counted as one of the weakest. Wang Dagong rudely cut in front of me and threw the wolf from his shoulder before the recycling employee. This is a 2nd tier vicious beast. I bet this is your first time receiving something this valuable. A vein throbbed on my forehead. Without hesitation, I kicked Wang Dagong in the waist. Bang! The full force kick sent him flying more than 16 feet. If he had picked up a 2nd tier, 9th level long-armed ape king, wouldn't his arrogance have reached the heavens? After speaking, Wang Dagong had turned directly toward the recycling employee. I could confirm that I had killed this silverback wolf, so taking it back was perfectly justified. Everyone fell deathly silent. The atmosphere grew extremely tense. Only after a moment did faint discussion begin. Is that kid really this bold? Wang Dagong killed a 2nd tier silverback wolf by himself. His strength is probably second only to Li Wei's bone forging cultivation. They're going to fight. We'll finally see what Wang Dagong can do. Let's put some distance between us. We don't want to get caught in Wang Dagong's attack. No one thought highly of my chances. They expected Wang Dagong to crush me with one hand. He had been basking in everyone's attention moments ago, only to be sent flying and lose all dignity. Worse, that was a 2nd tier vicious beast worth 10,000 dragon coins per pound. One corpse could sell for several million, a vast amount of cultivation resources. This insult could not be tolerated. Wang Dagong leaped to his feet, raised his fists, and charged me in a fury. I frowned as Wang Dagong charged and quickly made my decision. I had shown mercy moments ago. Otherwise, that single kick would have left him unable to stand. Now he had rejected the last bit of dignity I gave him, so he could not blame me for striking ruthlessly. I moved like lightning, appeared before him, and smashed a rising dragon punch into his chin. Compared with me, Wang Dagong's strength was no different from a child's. He had no time to react. One punch launched him through the air. This time, I did not hold back beyond leaving him alive. The tremendous force knocked him unconscious on the spot. He flew several yards before crashing to the ground in front of the special admissions instructors, completely senseless. Didn't Wang Dagong kill a 2nd tier silverback wolf? Isn't he supposed to be second only to Li Wei? Why couldn't he survive one move from that guy? I don't know this kid, and he clearly isn't Li Wei. How can he be so powerful? He crushed Wang Dagong completely. Is he another 2nd tier martial artist? Chu Feng. Powerful. Lu Hu shouted. He was also a student from 1st High. Having seen Wang Dagong cut the line, he approved wholeheartedly of my knocking the man away with one punch. Everyone turned to glance at Lu Hu, but said nothing. Looks like this tournament's champion will be either Chu Feng or Li Wei. I wonder which is stronger. As the students debated, they searched for Li Wei, the famous bone forging martial artist. They did not see Li Wei, whom I had knocked unconscious. Instead, they noticed Wang Dagong lying before the university instructors and principals. The tournament had ended. Every instructor and principal had arrived. If the admissions instructors saw someone using his strength to bully another student, their impression of me would probably worsen, making university admission more difficult. Put simply, I might be powerful, but I had shown it at the wrong time. He may be strong, but if he ruined his image in front of the admissions instructors, entering a good university will be difficult. If 3rd High's principal demands accountability, Chu Feng won't avoid pressure either. Unless his score is exceptionally high, that punch may cost him dearly. Exactly. I heard elite universities care more about character than strength. Chu Feng had a reason to strike, but if 3rd High's principal seizes on this and condemns him, the impact could be enormous. Hearing the discussion, Lu Hu's face changed slightly. Damn, he shouldn't have been so impulsive. It was only someone cutting the line. He could have endured it. If anyone used this incident against me, I was perfectly willing not to attend their university. Among the admissions instructors, Fang Yu stepped forward first. As a seventh-tier martial artist, he had seen the entire incident from far away. He stepped over Wang Dagong and came to my side, speaking in a gentle, consultative tone. Xiao Feng, I'm Fang Yu, a special admissions instructor from Shenzhou University. You know Shenzhou University, don't you? It's the best university in the Dragon Nation. Before he finished, several instructors crowded in and interrupted. I'm a special admissions instructor from Baichao Tongji Medical and Alchemical University. If you enter our school, you will never lack pills again. Cultivation is impossible without pills. Join Baichao Tongji Medical and Alchemical University, and your future will be limitless. Another instructor spoke immediately. Lingxiao Institute of Technology. Our university possesses the finest equipment and weapons. Chu Feng, the soft armor you're wearing saved you at a critical moment. The instructors rushed over one another and surrounded me so tightly that no gap remained. No one paid attention to Wang Dagong, whom I had sent flying. Even Third High's principal could not be bothered to help him. Every instructor had seen Wang Dagong's conduct clearly. He had utterly disgraced Third High. The principal sighed and walked away in silence. The students stared, dumbfounded. Wait, what is happening? Why did kicking Wang Dagong away make the admissions instructors like Chu Feng more? He even stole Wang Dagong's silverback wolf. Even if Li Wei arrived, he probably wouldn't receive this treatment. Top universities are fighting over him. I've never heard of anything like it. How many points does Chu Feng have? He's driving these instructors crazy. As the crowd talked, Jiang Hao left the forest carrying more than 2,000 points. The moment he emerged, he saw me surrounded by instructors. The sight confused him. Was I really that popular? I was not exceptionally strong, was I? I was merely at the first tier, 9th level. Jiang Hao might be at the 8th level, but only one minor level separated us. He was confident he could still exchange several moves with me. The scene also made him excited. If I received such excellent treatment, his could not be much worse. Jiang Hao's demands were modest. He wanted only to enter Shenzhou University. Special admission would let him begin university early and save him from struggling through another senior year. He displayed the score on his band, 2,208 points. Among the competitors, this was extraordinarily high and easily enough for second place. Jiang Hao's score instantly attracted most people's attention. Damn, another expert. Isn't that Jiang Hao from First High? First place? Li Wei hasn't appeared yet. How can you say Jiang Hao is first? Li Wei's score must be higher. Li Wei is a second-tier bone forging martial artist. But why isn't a single admissions instructor talking to Jiang Hao? Even after he revealed his score, none approached him. They remained clustered around me, offering conditions for admission. Their expressions suggested that until I agreed, they were determined to take me back with them. The students were astonished by their resolve. How many points does Chu Feng have if they can ignore a score above 2,000? He must have broken the record. Maybe more than 3,000. I think it might be 4,000. Otherwise, someone would pay attention to Jiang Hao. A score above 2,000 is unquestionably excellent. 4,000. Wouldn't he need to kill a late second-tier vicious beast for that? We'll know soon. They'll announce the rankings. Before my final score was announced, the special admissions instructors had already surrounded me. Jiang Hao displayed more than 2,000 points and received no attention, instantly revealing the difference in our treatment. Baichao University made the first offer. Its admissions instructor, Zhou Yanbai, promised me an unlimited supply of Baichao Qi nourishing pills throughout my university years. Each pill was worth more than 10 million dragon coins, accelerated body tempering, and produced almost no after effects. Fang Yu of Shenzhou University immediately countered. Pills are only a supplement. At Shenzhou University, the finest instructors will use real combat to help you establish solid foundations. The moment you agree, 1 billion dragon coins will be transferred to you. Lingxiao Institute of Technology offered a set of 5th-tier soft armor worth nearly 8 billion dragon coins on the market, capable of dramatically increasing my defense. Each of the 3 elite universities offered a different advantage, but I valued resources I could use freely. The 5th-tier soft armor was precious, yet I would not be allowed to resell it. Cash and pills, however, could be converted into spirit stones or used to purchase cultivation arts from the myriad world's marketplace. I already possessed the edgeless soft armor and had no short-term need for ordinary defense. The true limitations on my progress were spirit stones, pills, and high-tier cultivation arts compatible with 9 Heavens' divine thunder. Given sufficient resources, both my martial and qi cultivation could grow rapidly. I looked toward Fang Yu and waited for him to increase his offer. He understood my meaning and called Xiang Jin, president of Shenzhou University, on the spot. President Xiang, the other 3 universities are offering too much. 1 billion isn't enough. Xiang Jin, however, believed I was a returning senior who had cultivated for a full year. Shenzhou University did not lack geniuses at that level, so he refused to add further conditions. Fang Yu later told me personally that if the president had known I awakened only 2 days earlier, he would never have ended that call. Xiang Jin's judgment was not unreasonable. An ordinary returning senior had already cultivated for a year. Earning more than 10,000 points was excellent, but not so extraordinary that Shenzhou University would ignore all cost. The problem was that their information had been wrong from the beginning. Fang Yu could only maintain his original offer. Zhou Yanbai recognized the opportunity and immediately contacted Baichao University's admissions office, reporting my entire record of defeating 2 second-tier, 9th-level long-armed ape kings at a low cultivation level. Baichao University had ranked 3rd for many years. What it lacked most was a combat-focused student capable of defeating Shenzhou University head-on during the 100 Universities Martial Tournament. Pills and funding were precisely Baichao's strengths, while my battle record was the sharp blade it had always lacked. The admissions office replied quickly, "Spare no cost. Bring Chu Feng back." While Zhou Yanbai waited for authorization from the admissions office, I continued watching Fang Yu. If Shenzhou University was willing to improve its conditions, I did not mind comparing the offers again. Fang Yu shook his head. "If fate permits, we'll meet again at the 100 Universities Martial Tournament." He took several steps away, then stopped suddenly. A wave of soul power swept across my body. I immediately realized he was examining my true cultivation, but I did not stop him. Several seconds later, Fang Yu's expression changed completely. The art of truth and illusion had deceived him. I was not at the 2nd tier, 1st level. I stood at only the 1st tier, 9th level. Yet I had used that cultivation to counterkill 2 2nd-tier, 9th-level long-armed ape kings. Only then did Fang Yu understand that the change in cultivation shown in the recording had not been a side effect of my explosive talent. My disguise had failed. A student capable of fighting across an entire tier and deceiving the senses of a 7th-tier martial artist was worth far more than his original assessment. But Shenzhou University refused to improve its offer, leaving him unable to compete with Baichao University. Fang Yu withdrew his soul power and turned toward Zhang Hao. "Are you interested in joining Shenzhou University?" Zhang Hao agreed immediately, but asked about the 1 billion coin reward. "Are you coming or not? If not, forget it." Fang Yu's response left Zhang Hao's face stiff. He possessed only 1st tier, 8th level cultivation and a little more than 2,000 points. In the end, he gave up on the reward and left with Fang Yu. The surrounding students watched them go, both envying Zhang Hao's entry into Shenzhou University and finally understanding why the universities had continued surrounding me. More than 2,000 points were enough for admission to an elite university, but not enough to receive the same special conditions I had been offered. At that moment, Zhou Yanbai finally received authorization from the admissions office. He walked up to me and stated the new terms directly. 2 billion dragon coins, plus every pill you consume throughout your university years. Once you complete your studies, additional resources will be negotiated separately. The 2 billion was merely the base reward. An unlimited supply of Baichao nourishing pills meant I would hardly need to worry about ordinary body-tempering resources before reaching the 3rd tier. For other martial artists, the speed at which they could absorb pills was a limiting factor. With Tide of Life, that restriction affected me far less. The other instructors fell silent. Lingxiao Institute of Technology still offered only the 5th tier soft armor, and Shenzhou University did not raise its price. I made my choice quickly. I'll join Baichao University. Equipment could improve defense, but I needed cash more urgently to purchase spirit stones and scouting cultivation arts. Baichao University's unlimited pills would also let me raise my martial cultivation rapidly. Its conditions suited my current needs best. Shenzhou University possessed excellent real combat resources, but refused to offer more. Lingxiao's soft armor was worth more, yet I could not exchange it for the spirit stones I needed. After comparing the choices, Baichao University's offer was the most direct and flexible. Zhou Yanbai transferred 2 billion dragon coins to me on the spot, then handed me a Baichao University badge and a bottle containing 10 Baichao nourishing pills. The pills were effective only for martial artists below the 3rd tier, but their medicinal power was pure and produced almost no aftereffects. Given enough time to absorb them, these 10 pills could push my cultivation farther. Report to the university before next Monday. I need to go home first. I put away the badge and pills, and I still have to sell the vicious beast corpses from the tournament. 2 billion dragon coins had already reached my account, yet I returned to the vicious beast recycling station. Everyone stared at my system space, wondering what kind of corpses I had brought out if even 2 billion dragon coins could not make me stop.